Hey guys, today we are watching Police Pursuit Chase 2000 Mercedes-Benz. C320 assault suspect, Southern California line. Let's get into it now.
The fact that he wasn't going very fast.
Let's get into it now.
It hasn't been since it started.
It hasn't been since it started. That's certainly a possibility, although
I do not see any damage. We have not heard of any
we do not see
or anything of that
any
nature.
damage.
And judging from his behavior towards officers, this might be
Judging
something
from
where
his
he's trying
behavior towards
to,
officers.
maybe taunt the officers and keep them kind of close behind them.
He taunted the officers.
Episode that we just
After that episode that we just saw right in the middle of Washington Boulevard.
Pit maneuver, probably. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's off
Go on
the
a
table
limit,
for now.
go on
When
a
you're dealing
limb.
with a suspect
That's
being
off the
this
table. The pit maneuver is
unpredictable
off the
and
table.
this
They just joined the
aggressive
chase.
now coming to an
They
intersection
started
now,
joining in this
Washington
chase.
Boulevard and Arlington Avenue coming
Started
to
nearly an hour
red
ago.
light. Interesting that this suspect is actually following traffic rules, although you know it's really hard to tell when a suspect is following traffic rules, but then getting out in the middle of the street and pretending to shoot at officers. It's just really unnerving and really unpredictable. Really hard to predict,
Unpredictable.
what a suspect like this is going to do.
What a
Now we're in
suspect
Washington
like
Boulevard,
this
still
is
on
going to do
Washington
now.
Boulevard, approaching 3rd Avenue.
Do we know if there's anybody else in the car or any of the circumstances that led to this chase where they said, was there a failure to yield? I mean, how do we know there was an assault with a deadly weapon according to police here?
The reports that we're getting at this point are that someone actually called LAPD to report a possible assault with a deadly weapon, and when LAPD arrived on scene, the suspect then took off.
And we don't know the nature of that weapon?
From our scanners here.
Okay,
We do know that the initial person that called LAPD did report that they saw this person with multiple weapons. There were multiple
They saw
weapons
this person
mentioned in
with
that
multiple
initial call to
weapons.
LAPD. So that's the information that
That
LAPD is
initial call to
working off of right
LAPD,
now.
so that's
Going off
information
that
that
and the behavior
the
that we've
LAPD
seen
is
so
working
far,
off
you can
right now.
imagine that
The
LAPD
behavior
is
that
gonna
we've
be very
seen
cautious when
far,
dealing with a
you can
suspect like
imagine.
this, especially going at slow speeds.
They've been chasing that vehicle for the last 5 or 10 minutes or so as well. Right after the chase started, 10:45, 10:50 this evening.
As to where?
This one started, we believe, around Washington Boulevard.
Yeah, it started around
a little further to
Washington
the west
Boulevard,
in the mid-city area.
little further to the
We'll
west
get that cross street
in the
again for you where
mid-city
this
area.
started. But now we're a little
Cross
further
street
to
area.
the, let's see, we're
Nearly
a
an
little
hour
further to the
or so.
south and to the west now.
South and to the
But
west.
The suspect appears to be
Slow
kind of
speed,
staying in
they
the same
just
general
deployed
area,
spike
going,
strips. Earlier
eastbound
on,
for a
I think,
distance,
yeah.
then southbound, and then back west for a distance.
Then back west, back
kind of saying,
west for a
This has
distance.
been going on for about 15 minutes now.
This
We
has
first
been
heard the
going
call
on
at
for about
10:50 this evening. And,
yeah, this has been going on for
you know,
about
this is one of those
10 to
ones
15
where
minutes
you really
now.
don't know how it's going to end or how
And at
long
one
it's gonna
point,
go. It just
they just
depends
picked
on
up the
stamina
chase
that this suspect has.
nearly an hour ago.
LAPD has enough
And
resources
this has
here
been
to
going
deal
on
with that,
about
and they're gonna be
for
able to,
about 15 minutes now.
outweight this suspect no matter what he does.
It's interesting to see drivers on the other side
Yeah,
of their
and
cars.
going on
People who live in
for
Los
about
Angeles
15
long
minutes
enough,
now.
can see a chase
And
coming.
they
They know
just picked
exactly
up the
what's
chase
going
right
on.
around
You see them
10:50
pull over
this
to the side of
evening.
the road and just wait this one out. We're talking about
We're talking about a pit
being off the
maneuver. It
table
was
at this point
sort of
just because
being
he
off
may
the
be
table at
armed.
this point. He may be harmed.
What about a spike strip?
What
Any
about a
talk at all
spike
about
strip?
that?
Any talk at
So
all?
the spike strip's definitely
The
possible.
spike
You can see
strip's
their officers posted
possible.
up on Washington
Well,
and Bronson. That's
did
actually
work
that cross street
earlier.
that I was trying to remember earlier.
Flat
That's where this
tires,
started. So we're
flailing.
now back
Tires
where
are
this started,
flailing.
Washington and Bronson. And you saw there that LAPD officer and vehicle posted up on the corner there. They were preparing to lay down a spike strip. I don't think they were actually able to at that attempt. So that is definitely something that they are willing and able to do in this situation. And that's probably going to be one of the primary methods that LAPD uses to bring
one of the primary
to an
methods.
end as we continue westbound
As
on
they
Washington Boulevard, passing Wellington
continue
Road.
westbound
Now we have the map view up,
Washington
and you can
Boulevard
see here,
and passing Wilmington
where
Road.
exactly we are at
So,
any point in time. And you can also see the
this has been
speed
going on for
continuing.
about
This has
15
been
to
a
20
very
minutes
slow
or
speed
so.
pursuit throughout 30, 31, 32 miles an hour.
Now,
That's
and
probably
they're
the
picking up
fastest that
speed.
we've seen this pursuit
30,
go so
31,
far when we
32
first
miles
got
an
on
hour.
scene here.
Picking up
Going
at about 20,
20
25 miles an
Now
hour.
we're slowing back down, approaching a light. A lot of the lights in this area, once you
Lot
get
of
into
the
the late
lights in
evening
this
hours,
area, so
switch to a yield-only mode. So you'll
Switch
see a lot
to
of
a
that. These
yield-only
flashing yellow
mode.
lights.
So flashing
The
yellow
suspect
lights.
is, respecting, oddly enough, respecting those yield-only lights and coming to a
Respecting those yield-only
slowing
lights.
down before the intersection,
least
looking both ways
slowing
before
down.
proceeding. Just very
I
odd
just
behavior
deleted the
from a
video, so I'm
suspect
gonna
going
make another
from,
one. So
like we saw just moments
So
ago,
we just saw
pretending to
moments
shoot
ago.
at officers to then, yielding for oncoming traffic.
And this is an LAPD handle, Gabe, and we see a number of black and whites behind that car. Again, this pursuit is involving
what we believe it's just a solo driver. Many people wanted to get involved, record videos with their cell phones one way or another. That doesn't mean that one way or another. So
We weren't hearing anything of that nature as far as what
they weren't hearing of anything of that nature as far as what exactly saying what a lot of chatter from LAPD. So particular moment was just a lot of talk from LAPD air units, just trying to get the officers in right position.
As far as a crossfire situation, that's always something that LAPD is concerned about when they.
That's always something that LAPD is concerned, drawing their weapons towards the suspect.
Have anything kind of further down in front of you. If they had to use their weapons in that way.
If they had to use their weapons. You see that again? Their map locator turning right onto La Brea.
We're making a northbound
turn on La Brea. And technically in mid city. Now he's on he is on La Brea.
If we go a little to the north and
So
to the west, you will end up in Beverly Hills. A little further north from that,
you'll end up in Beverly Hills. He will definitely get into heavier traffic.
Here he is. He stopped again.
Trying to get out of the car again.
And again, making motions with his hand.
Making motions.
He's shooting at officers.
Chase been going on. They've been chasing that guy for the last 5 to 10 minutes or so. Going on. They've been chasing that guy for the last 5 to 10 minutes or so as well.
And I don't really know what to make of it.
They were chasing him earlier on. It started nearly an hour ago. Moment to handle a suspect now.
And it's just something that they have to handle really cautiously.
We have mentioned spike strip. That's going to be definitely be an option. Making circles around a general area.
For a good period of time, they will try to position officers in that way. Now stopped again. Near
second time.
St. Elmo
Two times already.
I'm speechless right now. This is something that I've never personally seen anything like this. This guy just basically putting on a show for these officers.
Putting on a show for these officers.
Pretending like
he's in a movie.
Gabe and Robert, as we look at this, they probably know who is in the car here.
Who is in the car here? No report. There are no reports that this is a stolen car. Someone called in to provide LAPD to provide some backup of that slow speed chase.
Well, there are no reports of it being stolen so far.
Yeah, we don't have reports of this car
chase been going on for about 20 to 30 minutes or so since the police started this chase. And now we haven't heard from LAPD traffic radio and scanner. What they would usually do if they're pretty sure.
It could very well be the case.
It could very well be the case. He's gonna be Venice. He's gonna be in the Venice Avenue. You know, we have people in the restaurant that have no idea that Taco Bell. They have no idea. Just come up upon them. Very scary for those folks.
Just stopped right next to them. And this suspect
again,
making those
third
gestures
time,
at officers, and you have these officers preparing to take cover behind their car, unsure what's going to happen next, and you just have to deal with this very carefully. I'm going to hold a little bit of a wide shot here because,
very carefully.
We can't be sure
what is going through this person's mind, what's going on. Something here on La Brea Avenue, That's on the available scene. Here, the south
of
of Venice Boulevard. He is on La Brea Avenue.
And it bears repeating. This is not the pursuit for people to go outside and take a look.
This is not for people pursuit to go outside, to pass by neighborhood. Many cars and many people are cheering. Police chase, police chase, police chase, police chase, police chase, police chase. With cell phones recording one way or another to get involved.
Making an eastbound turn on Venice Boulevard.
Making an eastbound turn on Venice Boulevard. Continuing at this slow speed. So I'm gonna let you listen there for a couple of hours. Let's listen as we react.
What you're gonna want to do is just get inside your home, watch it on television or on your streaming device. We have the best view for you here, and that's gonna be the safer option for you because we don't know what we're gonna see here, how this is gonna end with this possibly armed suspect, and if this suspect makes any motion of grabbing a weapon or anything like that, you really don't know what the outcome will be. Now we're making a bit of a U-turn here. Looks like we're going to be at Venice and Rimpow. There's another driver here just kind of, just trying to get out of the way.
And to the best of our knowledge, Gabe, there's no one else in the car. It's really hard to see because the windows are tinted and they're very dark. But to the best of our knowledge, there's no one else in there.
Right. I haven't heard anything to indicate that there's anybody else in the vehicle. From what we've seen so far, we haven't seen anybody else in the vehicle. The windows are tinted, but when this driver comes to a stop, if anybody else is in the vehicle, they would have the opportunity at that point to get out, one would think. So we're going off the assumption that this is just this solo male occupant in this vehicle just continuing westbound on Venice, and that's the information that LAPD is going off of right now. Continuing this very odd, very slow speed pursuit going on for about 30 minutes now, approaching another intersection.
Going on for about
and any drivers
30
in this
minutes
area,
now.
I mean, that just has to be an extremely scary situation with this unstable suspect just driving alongside these other drivers that have no idea what's going on. You have LAPD, all these units making this left turn alongside the pursuit suspect, and that unsuspecting individual just kind of has no idea what's going on right there, and they're just trying to pull over and get to a better spot, and looks like they're going to do just that. LAPD will pass by them, and this pursuit will continue now southbound on Brea and St. Elmo Street. We've been here before, so we are kind of doing circles in this general area, and that's kind of what I was suspecting would be the case here just from seeing the initial pursuit behavior. Now we're turning on a new street that we haven't seen the pursuit suspect go down before. This is St. Elmo Drive, now making a northbound turn on Highland Avenue. These really narrow residential streets, very hard even for, you can't really pass somebody if you're going in the opposite direction, so it'll be very interesting to see. Right, exactly. It'll be very interesting to see if he'll come up on oncoming traffic and what that oncoming traffic is going to do. In the meantime, all these LAPD units are going to filter down this very narrow street, and you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and other vehicles behind this pursuit as well. And now we're going to be able to get out of this residential area, thankfully, and pop back out, it looks like, to Venice Boulevard. You see the LAPD air unit overhead calling the shots for the officers on the ground. And this will continue at this very slow speed. It's very hard to tell when he's going to come to a stop because he's just coasting along, now coming up on what I can only assume is a taco stand down there, very slowly passing by. Very glad he didn't try to make a stop there because that would be a very scary situation. And we're just continuing 6-5 miles an hour down eastbound on Venice Boulevard, again, kind of in the same area where we've been for the past 30 minutes.
And as we continue to watch this, we want to point out that time really is on the side of the officers here. While he's going very, very slowly, and he does occasionally jump out of the car and become somewhat aggressive.
This pursuit has been going on.
He hasn't clipped any cars.
He hasn't clipped any cars. This pursuit has been going on for about 30 to for the last 30 to 35 minutes or so now. That's fourth or fifth time, sixth time, getting out of the car. Okay, this pursuit has been going on for about the last 30 to 35 minutes or
That's
so.
a little bit of a scary scene here. You have
And you have a crowd over there. It's over there trying to cheer for them. Many cop cars over there.
That's definitely
running up to the sidewalk. That's not what we want to see. We advise, especially
in unpredictable situations such as this, you have all these
predictable
LAPD units
situation,
here,
such
and
as
other LAPD
you have
units trying
all
to
the
get to
LAPD.
scene, but they
These
might not be able to
LAPD
because you have all this
units.
traffic in the way now.
You have
and
all
this
this traffic in the way.
suspect in the
This is
middle of
unpredictable
Venice Boulevard,
suspect.
now walking towards officers. That's kind of the furthest we've seen him walk away from the car, and now he's back in the car. And
he is getting back in the car.
Going to continue on. We'll see here. Now that he's at a stop, we'll be able to take a look
He's
at
at a
what car
stop.
this is. It looks like a Mercedes-Benz.
It looks like a Mercedes-Benz of some kind. Which is a car that is a capable. We haven't seen pretty high speed. This pursuit is so far we have seen.
Almost a parade down Venice
Almost a
Boulevard,
parade. Looks like
it
looks like a funeral procession.
Just trying to see what's going on here, which is
it looks like a mini parade.
We can't say it enough. That's
like an army parade. I don't know.
And we would hope that people, once they hear this or watch this, they go back inside their homes and watch on television or on their streaming app instead.
And we don't believe that the car is damaged in any way. And Colleen, you asked before about spike strips. It would seem when it's going this slow, this would be the time to be able to do it if they could possibly do it.
But it would also take them a long time to have that air come out of the tires, because keep in mind, spike strips are not meant to cause a blowout. They're only meant to deflate the tires over time. So he'd have to be rolling on these for a little while to have that air come out.
And is there a certain speed that the vehicle must be going to perform any type of maneuver?
On a pit maneuver?
Any type of maneuver? On a pit maneuver?
Right now,
he almost seemed going to be going too slowly.
On a slow pursuit like this, but there's a high-end speed. Anything over a certain speed, and I don't want to really give that out on the air. It's just below 50 miles an hour, but anything above that is usually too fast.
And just to reiterate what Gabe is telling us, this is from the Los Angeles Police Department. This pursuit started at Washington and Bronson.
This pursuit
it is an assault
started at Washington and Bronson. This is an assault with
no official word if anyone else is in the suspect vehicle.
Suspect's vehicle, from their perspective, it doesn't appear that it is possible that the man that the LAPD has been following now since in the Mid-City area since about 10:45 this evening and going on earlier on for the last 5 or 10 minutes or so since the police started this chase as well, that the pursuit and the spike strip pit maneuver information.
We have this really great shot that Jim Pollard, my pilot, is getting me.
We have this really great shot
there, and you can clearly see
looking right through the windshield there.
What confirms what we thought, which is that it doesn't appear that there's anyone else in the vehicle. You can see the suspect there kind of holding still for now, but occasionally making aggressive motions inside the vehicle, now coming up to Venice Boulevard and La Brea, still in
coming up to the Venice Boulevard and La Brea.
A very familiar intersection and area that this suspect is staying in. This is that big intersection here.
I'm going to let you listen there for a minute.
And now you see some LAPD units making a U-turn as the suspect stops and gets out again.
Gabe, let me ask you. Yeah, this seems very weird. It almost seems like they're pulling off here. But is there a canine unit with them? I'm wondering, so when he does stop, he does get out of the car and does not appear armed at that point.
It's almost like he's going to pursue them.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. This is a very scary situation here, guys.
Scary
so LAPD has pulled off of this pursuit. They are still tracking it from the air, but it looks like the suspect is now trying to hunt down the officers and trying to see where they are and where they're going. Now he's trying to either blend into traffic, possibly through something out the window there, and is looking for where the officers went. Excuse the camera work there where we try and narrow in on where this suspect is. But just a very odd scene here. LAPD has pulled off this pursuit, and for now, at least the ground units are concerned.
The wrong way?
Oh, wrong side of the road here, almost hitting an LAPD car. and continuing on the wrong side of the road on Venice Boulevard, hitting multiple, or coming very close to hitting multiple vehicles, pulling into a driveway. We're going to maneuver around to try and get a better angle here as it looks like. Yep, he's doing a little bit of a three-point turn there, turning around and coming to a stop again as he sees those other units passing by on the other side. And you can see, there they go. There goes the LAPD units going in the eastbound direction as this suspect continues westbound. It does appear that, let's see, we have a motorcycle officer coming up, continuing in the eastbound direction, and now this suspect is also continuing in the eastbound direction, now behind the officers that were leading on this pursuit. And he's picking up speed. There's one of the LAPD motorcycles.
Picking up some speed.
I'm very concerned as to what this driver is going to do when he gets us to some of these other
LAPD motorcycles.
And you can see them there on the other side of the road, and it's
You can
almost
see them
as
there on
if the suspect
the
is
side
now
of the road, picking up some speed. Now slow it down.
The officers that were chasing him.
And gave the reason why the officers would have pulled off of this chase.
That would be for safety reasons and reasons as far as they want to prevent this from being a sideshow. They have been able to tell in recent years and in recent experiences, as we get very close to a motorcycle here, police motorcycle here, another very scary situation. The suspect appears to pass there, and now the police motorcycle gets behind the suspect and is now in pursuit. So it now appears that LAPD is re-engaging the suspect in a more traditional fashion and continuing westbound on Venice Boulevard, approaching some more police units there. And this just appears to be a sideshow that is going back and forth on Venice Boulevard. And now you have police officers on both sides of the suspect, on both sides of the road, in front and behind the suspect. Spotlight now back on from the LAPD area unit. And now the suspect back to his old tricks, standing outside of his car, gesturing at officers. So it appears what happened here was LAPD tried to back off the suspect to see if he would start behaving, see if that would calm him down. That didn't work. So that means that LAPD may switch back to a more traditional pursuit situation where they have units behind the suspect and they're doing a more traditional pursuit that we kind of know and what we're familiar with, instead of the alternative, which would have been more of a tracking mode, which is usually used to try and calm the behavior of agitated suspects. But with a suspect as unpredictable as this, what you get is what we saw, which is where the suspect actually started chasing the officers down. And there you have more people in the street again, not what we want to see. And again, these slow speeds,
it will take 2 hours to, it will take, 10 miles an hour.
Eastbound on Venice Boulevard.
Continuing eastbound on Venice Boulevard. It will continue this, it will take 2 hours, it will take 2 hours to do the video, to do a police chase video. It takes 2 hours, 2 hour video.
This is an attention issue, a mental health
issue. This is an attention issue, a mental health issue.
The driver was having what we believe to be a mental health episode of some kind, and that's why that suspect was leading police on that very odd pursuit last night. This appears to be kind of in a similar fashion to that, although more erratic, more aggressive. I would classify as a little bit of a different kind of pursuit, one that LAPD needs to handle very carefully because they don't know what this suspect is going to do, and again, dealing with the possibility that this suspect is possibly armed.
They're back pursuing him, Gabe, but a fewer number of LAPD patrol cars, correct?
I would say there's still the same number of LAPD patrol cars in the area. You have 5 patrol cars as part of the pursuit package, as they call it. Those are the ones that are going to be directly behind the vehicle. But you also have many other officers in the area prepared to either launch spike strips. There's a 6th car joining the pursuit package there. But those other cars in the area are going to be used to coordinate spike strips, or if the suspect decides to run, those other vehicles will be able to move in and kind of appear out of nowhere, or that's what it'll seem like, and they'll be able to form a perimeter around the area if, once again, the suspect decides to run. And here we go, coming up at not really an intersection, but, a shopping mall in the area, coming to almost a complete stop.
Gabe, this is where I asked you before, and then all of a sudden things changed. Is there a canine unit with the LAPD that you can tell? So if he were to get out of the car and spend any amount of time standing, back by the trunk or something, they could unleash the dog.
Colleen, that's a very good question. It is usually standard procedure for a canine to join a pursuit like this once it starts, going on into about 30, 45 minutes and so on. I don't know if a canine officer has joined this pursuit quite yet. I'll widen out the shot and take a look back. Usually they'll be one of the last cars in the pursuit package. I don't see anything, obviously, with markings of a canine unit, but that is something that is more than likely has already been called to the scene and is already, that canine officers in the area, as we come very close to another vehicle through the intersection there, that canine officers that are part of LAPD have already been made aware of this and are more than likely en route to this pursuit.
Once again, this is Venice Boulevard. What's the cross street here, Gabe?
Venice Boulevard, Longwood Avenue, that was the last cross street. Let me widen out the shot here. These intersections are starting to look familiar to me because we are kind of going in a circle here. This is going to be Venice Boulevard in La Brea that we're going to approach again, and we've been there multiple times already. We're definitely doing circles around the mid-city area. Bottom right of your screen, we've seen that taco stand before. The vehicle was going in the other direction and stopped in front of it, and so this suspect seems to be familiar with the area, but is still acting just incredibly aggressive with behavior that can be considered very dangerous, and it's just very hard to predict what this suspect is going to do. Now coming to a stop in the middle of the intersection, it's hard to tell if that's a red light or not, but it's just a dangerous situation because you don't know what other vehicles are going to do. You don't know what's going through this driver's mind as far as why he would stop right there in the middle of the intersection. And
a major intersection of Venice and La Brea here too. This is
Exactly. A major intersection. There are other cars just kind of continuing about, maybe unsure of what's going on. There's that Taco Bell again in the bottom right of your screen.
And nobody's moving at this point.
Nobody's moving.
Nobody's really moving.
We sort of know now that he really is taunting these officers. We've been speculating as to why he was driving so slowly, but when he went to pursue the officers after the LAPD backed off, he was reaching speeds, it looks like, on your speedometer of 70 miles an hour. So there's nothing wrong with the car. It's obviously something wrong with him, and now he's just here in the intersection of La Brea and Venice in the mid-city area where this pursuit originated 45 minutes ago.
We're getting some additional information here. We heard that while he was stopped at that intersection, he was actually going through in the backseat of the vehicle.
45 minutes ago, or so as well, I should say.
And as well as being told, we also received
information one way or another when there was a passenger, or that's a driver,
passenger side front tire.
Passenger side,
it's really hard to tell from this angle.
passenger side, front tire,
low-profile tires
maybe
anyway.
flat, low-profile tires, like it's a price.
Back out of the vehicle. I'm going to widen out because,
this is the sixth time, okay? Sixth time.
You don't know if he grabbed anything or anything like that. And you can see this large contingent of LAPD moving up, but also these other vehicles in the way that are just trying to go about their business going northbound on La Brea, kind of in danger's way. Hopefully they kind of realize with all the lights and sirens that they need to get out of here as quick as they can.
And we wanted to let you know what we're going to do here. In just a couple of minutes, we're going to switch to The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, but we will continue our coverage on our website, NBCLA.com. Once again, this is a pursuit suspect who's been very erratic all evening long. This is on South La Brea.
It's been very erratic all evening long. That's a driver who's been very erratic. All evening long. So for about 45 to 50 minutes now.
For the suspect to be acting like he's shooting the police and waving his
Acting
arm,
like he is shooting the
and now he's
police.
stepping toward them even more.
Stepping toward them.
Closer every time he gets out of the car.
Yeah, seems to be a little closer kind of motioning around in the middle of the street, just seems to be in not a good state of mind. Flailing
Not a
his
good
arms
state
around,
of
seems
mind.
to be kind of
Flailing
moving away
his
from his car,
arms.
as you said, a little bit further every time, now going back towards the car.
Away
You can see
from his
LAPD
car.
here with
Now
these,
getting
They're
back
talking
in
to
his
him,
car,
you can
so
see too as well.
Yeah.
You can see that they're trying to talk to him. But
Are those non-lethal weapons
oh,
they
there he
use?
goes.
oh my
Correct.
goodness,
Correct, Colleen.
picking
The
up some
green
speed.
weapons
Oh
are
my
non-lethal
goodness.
weapons, so LAPD have those at the ready, just
Have
in case
those
they have to use them, and that is one of the options at their disposal
at the ready.
here. As we see, you know, the
The
suspect
ready,
kind of following a pattern
ready
here,
to do a
getting out of his
boxing
car,
technique,
you
which
know,
is a pursuit, intervention
just
technique.
flailing at officers,
So
doing what he's been doing, and then getting back in his
boxing
car,
that field goal
continuing on.
that will
You can see
be
the
a good
LAPD hearing
idea.
it going
So
through the
that will
shop there with
prevent
the
that
night sun,
driver from
staying
taking
on
off
this pursuit vehicle, this
or
Mercedes
high
Benz
speed.
here,
That is a Mercedes Benz.
going north,
2000 Mercedes Benz.
southbound on La Brea
Yeah,
Avenue
2000
for this
Mercedes.
pursuit that's been going on for the better part of 45 minutes now.
Going on for the better part of
Southbound on La
about
Brea
45
at Pickford right now,
to
going
50,
through a
45
residential
minutes.
area. Right now, we
We're going on
want to
for
let you
about
know again, we're
45
going to switch to the
minutes
Tonight Show
now.
with Jimmy Fallon.
So,
This started
which is
with
a
an armed
so this is
suspect,
a
someone called the
boxing in
LAPD,
the
assault with a
vehicle
deadly weapon.
roadblock
We believe he has
technique.
multiple
So which
weapons,
is a
according to the
pursuit
LAPD. Our coverage
intervention
continues now on our
technique.
website,
That is a pursuit intervention
NBCLA.com.
technique. Yeah. So that's gonna be the boxing in or pit maneuver technique. So that's gonna do.
Watching the live stream of NBC4 News on NBCLA.com. We'll be right back.
Imagine a day where wrongs are made right, corruption is crushed, and consumer problems are wiped out.
Thanks to NBC4's I-Team, we have our neighborhood back.
That day is now, because the biggest I-Team in town has one mission: justice. 4 friendly faces, bad guys don't want to face. Getting back cash, self-respect, and a bunch of street cred.
I really see the I-Team as a community service.
Your problem is ours to solve, day in, day out, for you.
Says we'll be right back. Ha. We'll be right back. We're gonna lay down and rest for a minute or two.
A slow speed pursuit of a driver who was wanted for assault with a deadly weapon. This started in the Mid-City area, and we've been watching this driver for at least the last half hour. He's been driving, stopping the vehicle. It's a Mercedes, and I'm going to let Desmond Shaw explain what it is in a moment, but he's getting out of the vehicle.
So,
he makes
explaining what it is in a moment.
Police officers like he's firing a machine gun of some sort, taunting them for, pretty long periods of time. I mean, like several minutes, long enough where if
Going
police
on
were
for the
close
last
enough,
half hour,
they would
several
certainly be able
minutes.
to fire
or
some
so.
kind of non-lethal weapon at this driver. And I would be surprised, Desmond, if just in the next couple of minutes or so we see him stop again and do the same thing. Because this has been pretty consistent behavior with this driver in terms of the starts and stops.
Yeah, very consistent indeed. It's been almost every 5 or 6 minutes that the suspect is getting out of the vehicle and making the motions at the officers. Now, last time he did that, the LAPD tried to take advantage of that and get a spike strip laid out in front of him. And that would be my hope, is that if they could just get that out there deployed, and hopefully the suspect won't see it, and they can shred this person's tires. But even if they do that, this person may still drive on the rims for several more miles. We've seen that quite a few times. But this is an assault with a deadly weapon suspect, a Mercedes C-Class here. It's been kind of around the same area, Mid-City LA. It's been LAPD's Olympic division that has been in pursuit.
It has been an LAPD's Olympic division, so I uploaded a car commercial 2005.
So very close to the 10 freeway. They have their spotlight over the head. We'll just widen out and show
holiday
you how many
commercials.
of
It was
the units they
uploaded a
have
couple of
in
days ago
this
in
pursuit.
2021.
And
Back in December
this one has been
2021.
such a slow one that they're probably
This has
just going to
been such
continue
a
to go with it
slow one.
until the suspect decides to go up or decides to give up or run out of gas or
And this
hopefully
all
they can
started
disable
about
the vehicle somehow.
And you mentioned right
10
when we
or
were on the
20
air on
minutes
KCAL 9
ago.
here that they did deploy spike strips.
And this all
Do we
started
know if
about
it was more than
20
one?
minutes ago, and this all
Desmond,
started
we
about
know one
10 or 20
was
minutes
successful
ago.
for sure.
Yeah, we believe that one
And
was
this,
successful
about 20 or
because
so
there may be
minutes
an
ago,
issue with both of
the
the front
driver
tires
kept
here that they look
going
to be
about
a little
20
low,
minutes
and that
later
is the
or
whole
so.
idea with the
The
spike strip is that it
driver
doesn't
kept
just rip the tire
going,
to shreds. It's
kept getting out of
these
kept
spike
getting
strips
out of the
for the
car
spike to actually go inside
earlier
the fire,
on six
inside the tire, and
times
slowly
already.
deflate the tire,
What's going
and so
on?
that it doesn't put the suspect in any danger either.
Listen
Just
to everyone
eventually they're
about
going to realize they're out of air, and then they can feel
25
the
minutes.
thump of the empty
We have
rubber
about
on the
25
asphalt, and
minutes
hopefully will inspire
now.
them to stop, but not always the case. But we're creeping towards downtown Los Angeles. They have less than lethal at the ready as well. They already discharged at least one foam pellet from one of those green guns that we saw earlier with the officer when he was outside of the vehicle. It appears that pellet may have missed. But lots of people coming out to take a look at this right here as we are eastbound on Washington towards downtown.
Yeah, you can imagine this on a Friday night. It's dark, and you've got a number of police vehicles following this lone Mercedes here with this driver driving relatively slow, and this slow parade going down Washington Boulevard. And really for no rhyme or reason, he's certainly stayed in the same area. Desmond, you had mentioned that they've run the plates and assumed that this is not a stolen vehicle, so they possibly know
That's not a stolen
who the
vehicle.
car is registered
So the
to.
car
That
is
doesn't necessarily mean
registered
that the
to the
person behind the
suspect.
wheel is, of course,
The
the person
person is
that owns
behind
the car.
the wheel.
But we can certainly assume
That's chilling enough,
as much.
huh?
And again,
Wait
officers
till
are
you hear this, and
slowly
we're reacting to it.
behind this
We're reacting to it.
Mercedes,
Let's listen.
following the driver to who knows where, but right now still staying in the mid-city area. It's interesting, we haven't seen an attempt to get on a freeway, Des.
We haven't seen any attempt to get on the freeway.
Yep, no freeway at all that we've been aware of at all on this one, Pat. It's been pretty much exclusively surface streets on this, and it's been, a lot of the same surface streets. It was on Washington earlier that came up Crenshaw towards Venice and was actually looping around the LAPD's Wilshire station on Venice near San Vicente for quite some time now. It's decided to go eastbound on Washington. And the way this is going, really slow speeds, but all these people out here, everyone's got their phones on. They can hear the helicopters.
They got
can
their
see the
phones,
spotlights.
recording it with their cell phones.
And now we believe that LAPD motor unit, the motorcycle officer that we saw earlier, was actually in the vicinity trying to hold back traffic. So you see how many resources get tied up, and the degree that LAPD is willing to go to try to keep the public safe at this. If they'll have other officers coordinate to hold back traffic on this one, and it just it's got to be really tough on these officers to when this just goes on and on like this. And we'll see if they decide to rotate some officers in and out on this one. They're probably going to have to call for a second helicopter if this continues for much longer. But as we head towards midnight and the beginning of the weekend, here we are, eastbound on Washington.
LAPD helicopter.
We'll see what the suspect does when they get into downtown Los Angeles, if they're just going to continue to stay on Washington or head for some other surface streets.
And, it's sure that the officers have more information in terms of exactly why they were in pursuit of this vehicle in the first place, in terms of this assault with a deadly weapon. Did this person pull a handgun on someone? Those are some of the things that have been, rumors that have been floating, but we have not been able to confirm that. But it also appears that the officers, we've noticed them on more than several occasions when they get out of they're still behind their vehicles when they get out. Look at this. It almost, I don't want to be trite, but it almost looks like a funeral procession.
Almost like a
when you got
funeral
these cars
procession.
lined up on the other side, and here's this one
Like
vehicle
posting
with
it with their cell phones.
so many
people have their phones out
LAPD
recording
vehicles
with their
behind
cell
it.
phones.
It's just,
Hashtag,
from your shot
social media,
there,
Instagram,
it is a
Facebook,
spectacle.
TikTok.
Yeah, absolutely. Or like a little mini
Twitter,
pursuit
like
parade is
posting
kind of the
it
way
on YouTube.
this is going. Just this
Mini
like big
pursuit on
tour
parade,
of
mini
Los
pursuit
Angeles. Okay, here
parade.
we are stopped again.
7 times.
So let's see,
7
out of the vehicle
times.
again, making the motion. And okay, that was a quick one. Just wanted to get out and get right back in the vehicle. And we see, officers, they jump out the second that the second that the tires stop spinning. They're out, they're ready, looking for an opportunity. Maybe they can shoot a foam bullet. If they can shoot a couple, into this person's chest or in their legs or something, maybe they can
shoot a
prevent
person's
that
chest or
suspect
in their
from
leg.
driving
They can
away.
prevent that
even though the suspect
from
doesn't have
driving
anything in their
away,
hands, they
which
have
is a
no idea
pursuit,
this person's got something
which is a pursuit
in their waistband
intervention,
or what. Not likely that they're driving with a weapon in their
technique.
waistband, but
So,
LAPD
do a
takes
spike strip
every
with boxing
precaution
that
with these.
vehicle in.
And
So, you can take pursuit.
if they get the opportunity though to
Technique.
use that less than lethal,
You saw
maybe
that
they can
when
bring
I
this
said
to an
that
end sooner
earlier,
rather than later.
Yeah, that's what we were hoping for. And if it gets out of the vehicle long enough and, officers could get in position or to get close enough to actually strike him, as you just mentioned, at least to, immobilize him where they can take him into custody. As you said, he couldn't get back in the vehicle. I'm trying to, can't see, it's really dark, ascertain if anything's with those front tires that you mentioned. I can't really tell from here if they're flat right now, which would indicate a successful spike strip. Hard to say.
It's really hard to very hard to say. I'm starting to think that if it was successful, that the tires would have completely deflated by now, because it has been a long time since that spike possibility that we may not have gotten on camera. We did get that one on camera that was unfortunately not successful. LAPD tried to jump out there when the suspect was out, being aggressive and not looking, but it unfortunately was able to swerve away at the last second and get away. But just kind of circling back around, now we were northbound on Western, and now we are back east on, I believe we're on Olympic right now.
So again, not necessarily driving in circles, but actually in the same area, not making any moves, not getting on a freeway.
Not making any moves,
no
not getting on the
of,
freeway.
Obviously, what this person was thinking,
On the
as you mentioned
freeway.
earlier, we were hoping that maybe a family member or somebody who knew this person was in
Member,
contact
or somebody
with
who
them
knew
and
this
would convince
person
them to
as
stop,
well.
as we witnessed last night with the person driving that vehicle. But certainly, last night was a different story in terms of the want. They weren't wanted for assault with a deadly weapon or anything that egregious, just driving recklessly and making donuts on the street, brushing one vehicle. Did make close contact with one vehicle, but not necessarily driving dangerously to put other motorists in danger. And tonight, we haven't really seen a lot of dangerous moves on the part of this driver, even though right now he's driving on the wrong side of the street. We've seen that a couple of times, but with the speed that he's going, he hasn't really, put people in imminent danger, put it that way.
Right, so we did just get some new information from our intrepid assignment desk, who's definitely putting in some overtime right now, about what led up to this assault with a deadly weapon incident. And apparently it happened in the Wilshire Division, so kind of in this area that we're in right now. And apparently this person pulled a rifle and a handgun on someone, on a civilian, and that person called 911. They must have had the license plate, or they knew who that person was. It's unclear what the relation was of that person to the suspect, but now that is why LAPD has every reason to believe that this person is armed. They're very concerned that there are there's guns inside of the vehicle, and now I'm starting to wonder if that's what the suspect is doing. Maybe it's a warning, maybe he's getting out and making these imaginary motions, but if it's his strange way of communicating to officers that hey, I've got weapons in here. It's just conjecture, but I'm just kind of trying to connect the dots here, Pat.
Well, of course, and two, if that is what this person is doing, again, that could backfire on him.
Let's listen now.
To sort of indicate that, yeah, I've got some automatic weapons in here, so you better be careful. That does not always work to their advantage, because at some point, LAPD can go as long as they want, but knowing that information, if that's true too, Desmond, then 9 times out of 10 they will follow this person, right? As opposed to waiting for him maybe to go to where he lives and showing up there.
Out of 10
if
times,
it's something this is as egregious as pulling a gun on someone, then they're going to be more likely to get this guy in custody.
Yeah, I would agree with that sentiment. As we are headed back here along Olympic Boulevard, we had just crossed Crenshaw not too long ago, and you see we continue at these low speeds, but really serious concern about what this suspect has in the vehicle. We saw that yellow bag that was in the passenger seat right now, and I'm sure LAPD is probably just going to make that assumption for their safety. They're just going to assume that those weapons are in this vehicle, and then you've got this guy making these violent motions, getting out, and with almost like pretend a pretend gun in his hand, and then we saw the weird motions earlier with what looked like he was maybe throwing a grenade or something as well. So it's definitely disturbing behavior from LAPD, and just have to see how much patience they're going to have with this one. And as we come back to that intersection right here with San Vicente, actually I believe we're on Venice right now, so San Vicente and Venice, and again just hanging out in the same area. So we're going to pass by LAPD's Wilshire station again. This will be about the 5th or 6th time that the suspect's done that tonight.
And reading into this though, Desmond, even if this person does have weapons in his vehicle, officers certainly did take the chance to put that spike strip down when he was out of the vehicle with his back turned. They made that calculation to do that, and
so let's listen.
That gives you some sense of, yeah, they want this to end, and they're also taking some chances too, but then that's what police officers do. They obviously are gauging the situation and figured that they had enough time maybe to throw that down, just crossing Rimpaw, to throw that spike strip down while he was out of the vehicle, far enough from the vehicle where he wouldn't necessarily just jump back in or grab something from the inside of the car that could be a lethal weapon of some kind. And I'm just talking because looking at where they were, they made that decision to get out of their car and lay the spike strip down while this person was out of the car, even knowing that he could have those weapons inside the vehicle.
Yeah, it's an incredibly difficult decision for LAPD to make in that instance, and maybe if they're thinking if for some reason the suspect does pull out a gun, maybe they can jump from behind the vehicle, and these are the really difficult decisions that LAPD has to make in a situation like this. I'm starting to wonder too if there's any interest in calling the SWAT department out on this one. If someone's making these kind of I'm getting some more information here that if the suspect gets out of the vehicle again, it sounds like they may be more aggressive with the less than lethal. So let's just see what happens with this one now. Coming to a stop again, but there's been a lot of times where he's just kind of stopped in the middle of an intersection and kind of creep through. And this is
look at the scene.
Awkward here with all these civilians.
Yeah, I was going to say, look at the scene that's created there. There are a lot of vehicles there, a lot of civilians on the streets, in their cars, and as we've seen people out taking pictures, what have you, pedestrians, but this is certainly not something that you see every... There we go. Well, he's out of the car again. Let's see if they're going to do what you said.
Let's see what's going to happen here. Yep. I'm just kind of trying to stay a little wide here, see what LAPD is doing. You see him, stepping back
in the car.
and now he's getting back in the vehicle.
I noticed some people out on the street. I wonder if that would have anything to do, maybe, with the officers not firing even less than lethal if you've got other civilians on the street there? That would be close enough?
Very, very, very likely, and that's what's going to make this so difficult. It's gone on so long, and every time I widen out, you're seeing a lot of people here on the street. It doesn't matter what street we're on because this suspect has been in the same area the whole time and at a very slow speed has just created, such a circus out here in mid-city LA on a Friday night. A lot of people up late here, trying to kick off the weekend, and they see the spotlight and these people, they are probably unaware of what this person is wanted for. They're probably not aware that this person allegedly pulled a gun on someone else, and that those guns may be in this vehicle. And if they knew that, you have to wonder if they would be that willing to come get this close to this pursuit just to get some video for social media.
To get this video for social media, sincerely.
But there they are.
For the social media,
getting close enough.
Posting it on high school.
You would think that if that's the case, that you'd be a little mindful of this guy stopping and getting out of the car. What if one time, you don't want to think that way, but he could pull a weapon, especially if we think he already has one in the car, and then that would present an awful situation with him firing at police firing back, and then you've got pedestrians running for cover. We've shown a couple of stories tonight, Desmond, where there have been young people firing guns on a baseball field. And is that related? Not necessarily, but then again, just the possibility of people shooting guns or firing weapons, that is something that I would think would give some people pause, because you just don't know.
Some people pause because you just don't know.
You just don't know, especially it just kind of seems like in this day and age, I got to tell you, Pat, I'm afraid when I'm driving around LA to even honk at someone that's not turning on the green turn lane, because you just don't know who you're dealing with these days. And so it's why it's just always kind of surprising to see the folks out here getting so close to a pursuit, having no idea what the circumstances are that led up to this pursuit. But we're back on Washington Boulevard, headed eastbound once again. So we'll see if they're going to make that turn on Western and just complete this huge square that we've been doing, basically between Washington, Venice, and Western, and I think Crenshaw.
Well, you know what, Desmond? We do have video. We want to split the screen because we want to stay on your live picture, but we have video where you might be able to see him being hit with a beanbag. That would be on your right.
Okay.
Okay, still.
And I got to imagine, if they were hit, that would be very painful to be hit with a beanbag. Probably, left a nasty welt at the least, but apparently not so much. I mean, I didn't even see the suspect flinch in any way, and was able to get back in the vehicle and not having any difficulty driving. So I'm not sure where LAPD would be aiming with that when they're going to shoot a beanbag or a pellet, if they're aiming for the legs to try to prevent him from getting back in the car, if they're aiming for the hands. I can't imagine they're aiming for the head, or maybe just aiming for the chest, just to let the suspect know that they mean business. But it doesn't seem to matter to the suspect.
No, especially as you said, if he got hit and he just continued to drive to get back in the vehicle as if nothing different than we've seen from the driving that he's done over the last hour or so. He's still driving rather slowly. Not that he would be impaired in terms of, being injured in some way. We haven't noticed anything like that. It's been a little bit. Now, we saw him get out of the car a little while ago, but earlier, wouldn't you say, Desmond, he was doing it more frequently? Haven't seen it as frequent. And maybe that's because he knows, especially if they did try to hit him with a beanbag, then he knows that they are going to fire at him.
Yeah, quite possibly. You know, maybe not wanting to get out and get hit by another one of those painful, less than lethal rounds if it's foam or if it's a beanbag or what the deal is. But there we saw just another person on, even kind of flashing their cell phone light at this driver as well.
Cell phone light
so
at this driver as
an incredibly frustrating pursuit all the way around, no doubt about it. But at the very least, not driving like we've seen with some of these pursuits, 100 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour on streets, circling all over the place like that super dangerous one that we saw last night. But the flip side, we are dealing with somebody who could very well be armed with a gun, and they're just out here driving around and certainly making some violent motions towards LAPD, and we continue to make our way towards downtown. But I have a feeling that if we just go a couple more streets, the suspect is going to make that left-hand turn, just based on what they were doing earlier.
All right, there. A lot of folks out tonight watching this guy. And as Desmond mentioned, we haven't seen him make any moves to get on a freeway, even to really pick up speeds. He's been going about the same amount of speeds. Maybe ever so slightly, he would gain some speed for a minute, but then quickly slow back down. And Desmond referenced this chase that we watched. And we hope that's not the case here, don't we, Desmond? Where you had to go and refuel, where this driver was on the road for 6 hours before they brought that pursuit to a standoff. We certainly hope that's not going to be the case here tonight, because officers are certainly dealing with something a little different. This guy has some weapons in the car, pulled a weapon on someone. We're thinking that they want this to be over, but they have to be very careful. And with that being said, they can take their time, even though they probably don't want to either. They'd rather be doing something else on Friday instead of following this guy, not knowing what he's going to do, or giving him every opportunity to stop. But when he does, he gets out and taunts police, and then gets back in his vehicle and is still driving.
Yeah, well, if this is going to be one of those marathon pursuits, then we're going to have to land at an airport where I can get some coffee, because it's already getting pretty late as we, what are we now? Just at about midnight. Welcome to Saturday morning and the weekend here, eastbound on Washington Boulevard. And yeah, you always wonder how much longer do these suspects want to continue going on with this? No, whoa, look at this guy getting right up in the grill of that car, getting way close. And this is the thing, as LAP, if they're going to continue to let this go on, that's what's going to happen.
Right.
Let's talk about that 6-hour pursuit, because that one was going on for so long that you had people coming and parking on the 10 freeway and then getting out and running around near the freeway. They were putting up signs, trying to advertise stuff on the sides of their vehicle and stuff. So the longer this goes on like this, the bigger of a circus it becomes, and it's just that many more factors that LAPD has to factor into their calculations about how they're going to handle this.
And we'll see what they do. They've had some more opportunities, I would think. As slow as this person is driving, that they could possibly deploy another spike strip if they wanted to, I guess. But you haven't noticed that happen, Desmond, so you wonder what will be their next move. And obviously that a lot depends on what the next move of this driver is going to be as well. But he's got, there's a reason he's driving as slow as he's driving. Don't you think?
You wonder about the tires, definitely. If the tires are an issue, they do appear to be low. It's just kind of difficult for us to see if they're. I think that if they were. Well, look, there's a really good look right there. And you know what? If, Mike, our awesome assignment desk guy, just made a really good point. I mean, this is a Mercedes, and these could very easily be run-flat tires as well. So those tires, very expensive tires, not uncommon, though, on higher-end luxury cars. And if that's the case, they could go on for a very, very long time. And in that instance, the risk that LAPD took to get out there to throw that spike strip could have been for nothing.
E500 2005 car of the year.
And he's driving in such slow
like
speeds
C220,
as well,
ML350, C300,
which almost,
like,
you wonder, well, why is he doing that?
Like,
to make sure
many people
he
are
doesn't
recording
want
it with their
police
cell
to
phone.
really, well, look at that pedestrian trying to keep up with the car. Well, that's just how slow he's driving. The person is running and almost caught him. But just in terms of not agitating police to the point where they would start speeding and get more aggressive in trying to stop this person. Okay, we'll see if he's going to open the door again, Desmond,
again.
and get out and make more gestures of what he's going to do.
Well, so we were just informed LAPD's Metro Division, which includes the SWAT team, is aware of this. They're basically being kept apprised of everything that's going on, but they have not been requested in this one, because that could be another option. We have seen pursuits that have gone on where they bring in the Bearcat, the big armored vehicle, then they don't need to worry nearly as much about what the suspect may be armed with, and we've seen them, go and pin a suspect vehicle up against the center divider. A very rare thing. It's hard to say that they would do that. That may have been in a bit more of an aggressive era for LAPD. That was one of the earlier pursuits that I covered. Actually covered that one with you and Paul Majors. Was one of the first chases we ever did together. I'm not sure if you remember that one with that suspect. There was a lot of similar behavior with that one, and eventually they brought in a Bearcat and slammed the suspect against the center divider on the 405 and brought that one to an end. But I'm not even sure if LAPD is willing to do that anymore.
And talk about the expense. But they have the equipment. They paid for the equipment, but just to get that mobilized, I mean, that's a lot. That's taking up a lot of resources, which also, as citizens, you look at this and you think, all right, they're tying up our officers on Friday night for something like this to stop this motorist, and they have to do that because of public safety. They want to get this person off the street.
Okay.
But that's when that's when I feel bad for officers.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, I mean, this is a large expenditure for taxpayers, no doubt.
Like,
And maybe some of these officers are getting some overtime right now, and maybe they're happy to be getting it, or maybe they were about to get off work before this happened, and they just want to be home with their family. But it's just so frustrating all the way around when you have something like this going on, and it's just never an easy decision for officers. We don't think there's going to be any pit maneuvers happening.
So anyway, we have to concentrate on that.
They would have already done so. Spike strips, they've attempted a couple of them. Doesn't seem like it helped. We might be on run flat tires. There was, talk of the less than lethal, but supposedly the suspect's already been hit by one of those rounds, and that did deter the suspect from getting back in and driving away. So it's just a kind of what do you do situation here. Might just have to drag this one out as long as it's going to take. And that's, and we haven't even talked about the law enforcement helicopter overhead. I mean, we can tell you that it is not inexpensive to operate a helicopter, and they're probably going to be having to go for fuel. So then you're going to be talking about another helicopter coming to relieve them while the other guys go back to base and get gas. And then you just really see how many resources can be devoted to one of these pursuits.
Yeah, a pursuit like this that is just dragging on and on with a person who clearly, I don't want to say they're out of their mind, but they're not in their right mind considering what they've been doing with jumping out of the vehicle and taunting officers. They've got to know that it's going to end at some point, and they're not going to get away. Certainly not driving at this speed, Desmond.
Well, we did just hear. We just heard here, and as we go through, look at that! Someone's just throwing something at the suspect.
Somebody threw something at the suspect.
A can or a bottle they just threw.
They're tired of it.
I don't mean to make light of it, Desmond.
Bottle. What's it called?
It's midnight and it's in their neighborhood.
It's in their neighborhood.
And they've got choppers overhead. You've got a line of police cars behind a guy, and We did see
like
someone on
people
the corner there
staying up
throw
late
a bottle
watching
or
their
something
news,
at this car.
watching news of high-speed chase. All you guys are
And maybe he heard us talking about, his tax money going to pay for this pursuit, and
for
was
this
a little
pursuit
agitated.
going to
Here
pay
comes
for this
a
pursuit to
little,
pay their taxes, IRS.
I don't want to call them a biker gang, but
That's
a
crazy. Like
a little group of motorcyclists there stopping to make a gesture there. Now we did just learn that SWAT is being dispatched to this situation, so we'll see what all that means if they're going to bring in a Bearcat. And now I'm starting to wonder, can you do a pit maneuver with a Bearcat? Perhaps, probably, and then they don't need to worry about getting shot because every inch of those vehicles is bulletproof. So we'll just have to see what happens when SWAT gets here. What kind of plan? It'll be very interesting to see if they can get here before this. Before this comes to an end.
And see what kind of reaction they get. I bet he won't get out and start acting like he's going to machine gun people. I don't mean to laugh like that, but you think about that. With those Bearcats, those are humongous vehicles. So to see that amount of steel coming towards you, I don't know. Maybe this person would think twice about that.
You would certainly hope so, but it's hard to believe that this person is in a very good state of mind right now. So who knows how far they're willing to take this, but we might get an answer to that question here, and fairly quickly, because we understand that the SWAT department is headquartered in the Westlake district, not too far away from where we are right now, just about maybe 2 or 3 miles, and I have to imagine they're going to have the benefit of lights and sirens and not having to wait at all of the annoying lights on LA surface streets as they try to get down here. So if they want to get down here pretty quickly, they muster up everything they need to. They could get here, probably within 5 or 10 minutes.
So what street are we on
probably
now,
within 5 or 10.
We're back on Venice again, and it has just been doing that loop. It's been between Crenshaw, Western, Venice, and Washington.
Okay, so those are the major thoroughfares that this driver has been on the whole
it's been
time,
about within 5 or 10 minutes
again, makes you
now. Going on as well.
Wanting to put more spikes,
within maybe 5 or 15 minutes,
or if they
maybe
just want to
within
get this over with too,
5 or 20 minutes, 5 or 15 minutes. It's been going on for a while, probably about 5 or 10 minutes or so.
Sorry about that.
It's been going on for just a while.
If this person has a full tank of gas and they don't bring in SWAT, and this person just keeps doing this could go on until sunup, and nobody wants to see that.
5 or 15
certainly
minutes.
not, the LAPD officers that are
5
having
or
to
20 minutes.
be behind this, because we have to remember they're not just driving behind this suspect. They're also calling out the radio. They're keeping track of all of the surface streets that the suspect is on, and radioing that to other officers. This is tying up one of the LAPD communication frequencies as well. So it just kind of brings that back around to everything that goes into something like this, all because one person does not want to surrender after
being
trying to take someone into custody.
And interesting too, haven't seen him stop lately and get out of the car. It's been a little while before he's actually made those kinds of maneuvers again, and he may think twice about doing that, because not long ago we saw a pedestrian. We saw a person on the street throw a bottle at this car. So maybe that's making this driver think twice about getting out and making some moves or motions as he's been doing all night. Well, since we've been on this pursuit.
Yeah, and that actually brought back memories of it. It's just kind of, since we seem to kind of have some time right now, Pat, of another one of those pursuits where it was a slow speed affair in the San Fernando Valley. Somebody wouldn't stop, and you had all kinds of people getting involved, coming up and getting right up next to the suspect, or coming out and running up next to the window and banging on the windows, even getting in front of the hood of the vehicle. And that is the kind of thing that LAPD has to think about as well. So it might just be a good idea if they can bring SWAT in and bring this to an end, and all of these people can go on with their Friday nights and not be in harm's way with this person, then that's probably going to be the thing to do. Now, look at the vehicle listing a little bit. It looks like the passenger side front tire, so the front right tire is completely dead. Even if these are run flats, it looks like you can start to see the car right now really, wobbling, really beginning to struggle. So not the driver's side, but the passenger side. When we have an opportunity, we'll come around and show you that. But we'll see how the suspect decides to react to that factor as well.
Well, he's slowing down even more, and yep, he's wobbling even then. Wonder if he's going to stop completely. Is he next to another? Yeah, he's really slowed down there.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this guy. He's just ignoring him.
Somebody who's not even... I don't even think he's trying to get involved. I think just bad coincidence that they happen to be here at this time.
But look at the other people there.
Yeah, I think we have a stringer down there who's trying to get some...
taking some video, and the other people there,
Many people are trying to get involved.
But here's
with any kind of
a couple other vehicles that are right there in harm's way.
No, that's a C-Class sedan. That's a Mercedes
probably
R-Class
saying over the loudspeaker
sedan.
to get out of the way.
A loudspeaker, to get out of
the other vehicle hasn't moved yet, but he just really nonchalantly walked out and got in his car as if he didn't even see this guy. Now the driver is
to get out of the way.
Taking off again, but
they're trying to pay for that pursuit for the taxpayers. A lot of people are trying to.
A
lot of people are trying to get involved.
They've lost the rubber on that side of the tire doesn't mean that this is suddenly going to end. We've had pursuits where
they get
going on one of those rims, and they can go for a very long time, even without rubber on both of the front wheels. So it just depends, especially at low speeds. If they were going at really high speeds and they just lost one of those tires, then you're going to have a lot of friction, and you're going to get metal on asphalt, and then things might start overheating, or then that wheel could fall off. But when they're going at such a leisurely pace as we've been seeing with this suspect, these can drag out, as we know, for a very, very long time.
And that looks like that's what this driver is prepared to do, unless he just happens to stop and pull over and gets out with his hands up. But we haven't seen that for an hour and a half. Or I should say an hour, because we started this in the 11 o'clock hour, and here we are past midnight. And the driver is still going, but the car seems to be... what was that, Desmond? Did he throw something out of the car?
You know what? I looked away there just for 1 second there, Pat. I was apologize. I didn't see anything coming out the window on that one, but just noticing the condition. Okay, yeah. Apparently somebody was throwing bottles at him. That's what the police are saying over the radios.
Oh, still.
Is that and so this might still be the second. Now this a second person that is throwing bottles, and it's just so crazy to see how different people come out and want to get involved in this in one way or another. If they're, taking video is already, one thing, but then you got other people that come out and throwing cans.
One way or another, when people are getting involved,
with a deadly weapon that
taping videos, hashtag
it's just
Facebook, Twitter,
really
TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube.
Not a wise thing to do, obviously, but a lot of folks probably have no idea all
That's
all
not
the
a wise
details that are
thing
going on
to do.
With the story. But here we go again, getting ready to make a turn down once again. So we're coming back over to Washington Boulevard as the pursuit parade, or whatever you want to call it. It continues, and let's just hope that SWAT gets here shortly.
Because
I hope that SWAT
like a
gets here
parade,
shortly.
as you mentioned, Desmond. Same,
like
just
a pursuit
really
parade.
Low speeds here. But have to point out again that, what is this? He's just making another, just a little maneuver of some kind there. No rhyme or reason. But notice that this person hasn't gotten out of the car in quite some time, which is something that we were seeing quite frequently at one point. But they seem to be remain in the vehicle and just continuing to drive around the same area. And officers are
maybe just
methodically following.
Maybe just running out the clock, Pat.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just thinking, you know, this is what a lot of these suspects do when they know it's going to end with them going to jail. If maybe they're just listening to their favorite radio station right now, or whatever it is, or maybe they're enjoying the attention that they're getting. Anything could be going on in that vehicle right now, but you know, this may be the last time for quite some time that this suspect is, you know, going to get to drive a Mercedes, and maybe knowing that, they're just like, well, I'm just going to cruise. We'll see how long LAPD is going to let me do this, and I'm just going to keep going and just kind of zone out. And that appears to be what we're dealing with the suspect.
You said that right, zone out. I mean, if he could put this thing on cruise control, he probably would do so, because there's certainly... It's almost like, what is it, 10 miles an hour or something?
It's almost like, what is it,
of speed
10 miles?
Driver
10 miles an hour? What's going on?
He picked up.
It was.
He's picking up speed.
He must have heard you talking about how slow he was going, and then he just tapped on the gas pedal. But you know, he's got one bad tire,
so he's got one
we'll see
bad
what that does, and then he's coming back up to that area where, just based on what he's been doing earlier, he's probably going to make that turn again on Western. We just crossed Victoria, right there.
Victoria, I believe.
So we believe
right there.
Back towards Western. We'll see if they make that
they'll be coming
left turn.
Back, they'll be coming
kind
back
of just easing off the gas pedal once again, kind of going back into cruising mode. And here's LAPD just back here, probably
into cruising
gritting their
mode.
Gritting their teeth that this continues to go. Now we're hearing that the LAPD now saying that we'll see if we can come around to the passenger side of the vehicle here, if we're able to maneuver there. Give my
clicking
excellent
sound with
pilot Chris, who's had a lot of patience with this, is doing a really great job staying on this. We're going to try to maneuver to the other side and show you that apparently the rubber has completely left the wheel of that front passenger side, the front right side. So we'll see what that looks like. And actually, I can see a little bit of rubber there flapping.
With a little bit of rubber.
Probably going to fall off pretty quickly.
Little bit of rubber.
And then when we're going to be metal on asphalt, we'll see if we start to see any spikes. Begin to spark up.
We'll start to see any spikes.
We'll see. You know, I don't think we've ever seen a Mercedes with wheel on asphalt. We've seen trucks. We've seen little Toyotas. We've seen minivans. I don't think we've ever seen a Mercedes C-Class here.
When we ever seen a Mercedes C-Class,
with metal on asphalt here as the rubber falls off. We'll see how much longer this the rubber can withstand this. It's kind of funny to see the tire just kind of flailing around here, but not deterring this suspect, that's for sure.
No.
Not deterring the suspect.
Last night it was the bumper that
Acura,
became
Mercedes,
detached, that they dragged around
Jaguar,
forever,
Saab,
doing donuts and driving at such much higher rate of speed than this person right now. But yeah, it's almost painful to watch that tire, Desmond, because it's going to be toast.
Tired.
In just a minute
here. Be toast.
But as you, again, it doesn't seem to affect the driver. He's still driving.
Yep, still continuing here at a real snail's pace. I mean, barely even on the gas pedal, almost just above.
On the gas
pedal. Kind of idling forward. At this point, and I don't think these are cheap Brahmas either that the suspect is about to ruin right now. Obviously, not the biggest concern for this person right now, but you know, if and when they do get out of jail, he's probably going to need a new rim on this Mercedes as well.
I would guess so.
Out of jail or something.
Desmond, should we say hope you have insurance? But I don't know. would you do that to your vehicle anyway? Now, is he going? Oh, I thought he was going into a parking lot.
When they do commit a crime.
Yeah, into the parking lot there. Apologize for that maneuver. And going into a parking lot. So first time to see maybe just kind of cutting back around this traffic. I suspect probably didn't want to be at a stop. But again, now we see
what is it called?
The LAPD officers kind of wrapping around the parking lot on this one, and everyone at the stoplight has just got to be like, what is going on? What is it? What is the spotlight overhead me right now as we make our way back out, and just a gingerly non-compliant cruise. Late night here in Los Angeles with this assault with a deadly weapon suspect.
Yeah. Oh, Daz, you said it absolutely right. A late night cruise, and he's cruising by himself. It's not like he's he's not impressing a passenger. Since we're talking about cruising in Los Angeles, no, he's in the car by himself, just leading police on this parade that has seemed to go on forever, and not exactly sure when this is going to end. Has that tire come off yet, Desmond, or is it still somewhat attached?
I believe so. I believe the tire did finally come off. When we get the opportunity to go to the other side, we will again. But Pat, there was a time when this was the thing to do on a Friday night in Los Angeles, was to go out cruising. And I don't know if the suspect is from a different era or what the deal is. Maybe reliving his teenage years when cruising was much more of a phenomenon. I mean, who knows? But just continuing on these streets. As we come back around, we'll check on that tire. I think I still see a little bit of the rubber there. So
yeah, it's still going.
It's just amazing how long these tires can hold on when they're flat and driving on notorious LA streets.
And can you imagine the noise?
It's a horrible noise.
Not just even from the tire, but from the officers behind, the choppers, and it's just here. This guy is just listlessly driving around and around, and that tire is still going. I mean, that now has become the focus of our attention, just because of how long it's still on the vehicle. Unbelievable.
Yeah, how does it continue to stay on the rim right here? It's kind of a minor miracle that the rubber hasn't completely separated. I'm just going to be really curious to see what the suspect does once that rubber does inevitably fall off, and wondering where the SWAT team is at this point now. Yeah. Just because they were called for, and we understood that when they said they were on the way, that doesn't mean that they just hop in the truck and they speed down here. They go through a checklist with all of their equipment. They've got to make sure that all of the officers have helmets, that everyone has a shield, that they're armed properly, that the tires are all good to go on that big vehicle. Those big beefy tires that you see on the Bearcats. I'm sure there's a very lengthy checklist that they have to go through before they dispatch. So even though they have been dispatched, and that was maybe 15 or so minutes ago, maybe 20 minutes ago that we heard that, still no sign of the SWAT team inbound.
All right, so no sign of the SWAT team. That would almost be sort of like a relief at this point if we actually knew that they were, in the vicinity or even close by, but not the case. So they're still behind this car, and we haven't seen any other moves by LAPD in terms of throwing any more spike strips down. They've just been following close behind this vehicle, and the driver continues to follow this route in the mid-Wilshire area. On and on.
No other spike attempts that we've seen. I think they're just content to follow this and then let the SWAT team handle this once they get inbound, and just really hoping that they are going to be here shortly. It's been about 20 or so minutes. We'll just widen out and show you how many units we have involved in this little pursuit parade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units, and then those are just the ones that are following this vehicle. You got the helicopter overhead. You've got units all over the perimeter that are off of this major street right now in some of the smaller areas, just kind of keeping apprised of all this as well. So it's not just 7 officers. I mean, and there's probably 2 officers per car. So you've got 14 officers there, and then you've got 2 officers in the helicopter. So a minimum of 16 LAPD officers basically just on camera, and not counting all of the other ones that may be involved in this on the periphery as well.
And these have you seen any change up in terms of the cars, in terms of officers? I know sometimes when these pursuits last a while, they may. Okay.
There was another spike attempt right there. So, yeah, there was another one. And it almost looked like it kind of, well, I think if it caught anything, it might have just caught the tire that was already flat. So, it didn't look like it hit any of the other spikes. We'll listen for radio traffic and see if they say good spike. Well, this is the first that we've seen here, now making this northbound turn, kind of deviating from the streets that the suspect had been on previously. So now we're kind of headed, I believe, towards the Hollywood area or the Mid-Wilshire area, and we'll see where this leads us.
Okay, I almost thought at first that he was trying to go around it, which looks like he did, but it looks like part of it may have struck. Does that matter if you have a partial, for it to be successful?
It's hard to say. I think you just need one of those spikes to get in there, because those spikes will detach. There's someone else throwing stuff at this right now. It looks like a group of maybe teenagers or something, and one of them just threw a bottle. So now this is the 3rd projectile that's been thrown at the suspect as well. So I think you really only need one spike to get in there and mess with the tire. And I don't think any more than 2 or 3 going. More bottles right there. This kid could break one of these guys' windows. I just wonder
one of these guys
when LAPD gets really tired of this and says, come on, SWAT, let's get this going. Get down here. We got to bring this to an end. We've got people out here. They're getting rowdy. They're throwing bottles at someone that we think might have a gun in the car. We've got to shut this down. It's just getting ridiculous at this point as we're northbound on La Brea, but not the case. No word about SWAT's imminent arrival.
And you made a good point there too, Desmond. Who knows? He makes a turn again and runs into more pedestrians, and anything could happen. There's one right there. Possibly, well, there's several. Maybe taking pictures or just standing outside to see what the commotion is all about. All the lights, and again, those tires. I'm trying to see on the driver's side. I can't really tell. I thought I may have seen a tire. That tire being a little damaged.
We'll come back.
It's too dark.
Okay.
It seems like the front left tire is.
Yep. What? Huh? What? There was something. And here I was. Whatever. Perfect. They try to. Who wrote that down? Did you write that down? Seriously? I can't. I watched that. Like, what is there? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. No, we got nothing. I can't do it. You know, yes, I'm ready. I want to confront. You want to? Go ahead. I want to know what you got. Hey, you got. I'm ready to get. Yes, sir. You can't stop me. Because if you got anything, just be right. I was. You didn't. Bro, I was. I'm ready. Ow. What are you doing here? Wow. I am closing the door, Mom. Okay? Okay. Why? All right. Right there. I'm out of picture. I smell it. And you know why? It's not fair. Oh, it's real. You know? Oh. Oh, God. What is that? That's what? Albert, you don't bad. You don't Albert. Oh. Yeah. Albert. Okay. Everyone. Love you. Okay, you're they are watching, they've been watching for me. But yo, fuck. Yeah. He's like, oh. Maybe they want to. And they think they it's not. And this is I'm carrying this all the time. You got it. Oh no, you got it. You always win. And here? I am not doing it. I am no way. Honestly, sounds like the best. Equal thing. Everyone, I want to do somewhere in white. And you guys, when you think it's okay, Mike, and here is how you, when things are not, all they do is standing around us. All those kind of things to me. Oh, hey. Day, May 7th. So today, yeah, I'm hungry because of the get up. What? Well, yeah. What? Hours, you know? Not hours. Yeah. I'm for 20. It's so. I don't know anything. Oh my god. You know, I don't. Good, man. Yeah, I wanted to do that. I would like quesadilla with beef, cheese, beans, rice, lettuce, tomato, sour cream, stuff like guacamole.
Do you have tilapia? If I'm asked to fry, do you have? Oh yeah, you're fine. Yeah.
Take 20 minutes?
Yeah. One only. One tilapia and quesadilla. Okay, thank you. We're going to write it first. Okay, we're going to write
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
Don't work too hard. You better start smiling, young man. The girl's gonna get you.
And you right on. What? I can't run down there. Up. I don't know. It's not this. And when you hey. Bye.
So I'll actually answer that for yes. When it resets, you can only. I mean, you're only going to be allotted a certain business. Yeah. So use it before your stuff resets next year. So when it goes this year and it resets and you get everything right before you're about to come up on your status change, your anniversary, then make sure it's
Excuse me.
Siya po yung ano ng face.
Well. Oh. That's it. It is yeah. What are you doing? I'll put it too. This is not fun, y'all. And this is the thing. That's not fun. That's not fun. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. I need to feel something. I want you. I'm fine. Nothing, Mom. I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay? Phone case? What? This is a phone case.
Yeah, phone case.
I know that's.
I don't like it.
I love it.
That's not for that. That's for the woman.
Oh no, that's not for me. Please. I'm sorry. You wearing? Really?
Mami, looking. Saka.
I wasn't.
Hey, he's African American too?
Ah, yeah, his dad is black.
I know it.
Yeah, daddy was black.
What's your nationality? Filipino?
Yeah, Filipino.
My daughter-in-law's Korean.
Filipino. His dad was black.
You like chocolate.
You can tell her.
Tell your mom you want a baby sister.
Huh?
You want a sister.
Who's sister?
Give him a baby sister.
Ah, he has a sister.
watch the YouTube and tell us what is it doing? No, Karen. No, where's Karen? You called. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. Yes, it is. I don't know what it's doing. Come on. I don't know. We don't know what he's doing. He's so smart. So what do you think? You hate this thing. That's why you watch it. I love it. Ethan. You say you get this. And you find that funny, wouldn't you? Oh, my God.
Nice, yeah.
It's blood. No, it's not. It's blood. I know. Yeah, hey. Right, that's my minute. What is wrong with you, Mr. Hart? I will not put it. You are about everything. That is really funny. And you are okay. It's fine, it's working, Okay. Yeah. Everything. Mommy, hurry. Oh, wow. Yeah. My money. You know what? What is going on? That's what? Yeah, man. Well, and you know what? His name is out. Oh, yeah. Wait. No, man. No, man. I'm fine. Good night. Good night. He will. I will. What? There. There a lot. I know. I know, it's not cooked yet. Huh. What is the big deal?
I'll get you on this one.
Mom? Nothing. Nothing.
Nothing?
No, I'm just saying, I just want to get something a drink. Okay. I know. I know you're home. I'm gonna get something to drink, Mom. Come here. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. Hi. Oh. Yeah. All right.
Home? Going home? Okay. Large.
Where? Two? Yeah. Yes, funny. No. It's funny. This is funny, Michael. Get funny. This is funny. This is funny. This is funny.
Careful here. Finish. Finish. Thank you. Do mommy, hold this one for mommy? Huh? Okay. Okay. This is not heavy. Okay.
Hello.
No. You want this one or a big if that? You want this one? You want to hold this one or what this one?
Hold this one.
Oh, that one. Okay. That one, huh?
Yeah, red flag warning. What? And this is a serious.
You want to hold this bag or this one? Huh? Hold this bag. This bag. Hold this bag. Okay, okay. Come on, hold this bag. Hold this bag like that. Oh. Okay, mommy gonna hold this one. Okay. Gonna do?
Yes.
Okay, hold. Oh, it's not. It's not. Yeah. It's not. You're you know, they Albert, and now you're there. I can't. I wish there was. I want you.
Come on. Don't do it. No. Okay. I'm fine, Mom. Okay? Mom. No. 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 Not. Oh. Over. Oh. Oh. Come on.
Mommy get a hook with the feeder. Hi, Carlos.
Hello.
Oh, you didn't have work?
I do, but later.
Ah, later.
Hello.
Okay.
There's a poison. Here you are. You didn't. How about I here? Oh, you didn't. Where?
Is flat, but it's not, falling apart, or it looks like it's at least low. And that was what made us wonder if these are run flat tires on this one as we just kind of creep along. And obviously this is a suspect who's very agitated, certainly based on their behavior, someone that is alleged to have pulled a gun on someone else. And just because the suspect's barely moving along now doesn't mean that they might not just slam on the gas pedal at any second. We have no idea the mental state of the person. I mean, in my book, anyone who gets out and makes the kind of motions at LAPD that this suspect was earlier is probably in a pretty troubled mental state right now. But lurching along, stopping, lurching along, stopping, a lot of very uncomfortable parallels with that 6-hour pursuit that I covered a couple of years ago, Pat.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And we look at, there's traffic on, well, certainly on the other side. We just saw a car turn into, there's some businesses still open.
Yeah, fast
it's
food
pretty
up there.
Busy. Yeah.
We're on La Brea. Yeah, La Brea near Venice is where we're at.
Okay, well, I know where that is. So, yeah, there are quite a few fast food places over there. I thought he was going to get out.
There you go.
He's making his gestures again.
That's the first we've seen in a while.
Yeah, but you notice he didn't get out of the vehicle, did he?
No, he didn't. I don't think he wanted to put his face or his chest in harm's way of the beanbag. I have to imagine that was pretty painful, and you just wish. I don't want to play armchair police officer, but you just wish there could have been an officer who was really close by with a spike strip and could have come and thrown one in and gotten a really good spike on all 4 tires. But it looks like they're closing. It might be closing down the intersection, and all kinds of people now coming out to take a look at this, especially now that the suspect is stopped, and people kind of starting to swarm the area as they are completely stopped, just winding out and showing you there is an officer there on the north side of La Brea, north side of the intersection there, shutting that down, blocking southbound traffic. And LAPD hates this. They hate all of these people coming out and getting involved in this, getting very, very close. It's already a very difficult situation for them as it is, without a lot of people coming and getting extremely close to this.
And someone else threw something at that car. It looked like
so that's like the fifth or sixth thing.
And, you know, as you were talking about earlier, if they knew that this guy was possibly armed. You know, you've seen people that I was going to point out that gentleman in the white shirt there, and he was very close. He was standing outside his vehicle close enough to this driver, and considering how agitated this guy could be and what he possibly has inside that car, that was pretty dangerous. So now that they shut down the intersection, she's making a U-turn
and headed back south on La Brea, and look at this tire. I mean, look at the rubber just continue to hold on even in that turn. It's just hanging on for dear life on this one. It really is an amazing thing to see. I mean, we've all had flat tires, and you don't want to damage your rim, and you pull over the second that you get to do that, and it's just kind of crazy to watch these suspects get out and push these cars as hard as they can go and drive with bad tires. Whoa, what is he doing here?
See, that's the guy I was talking about, Desmond.
Oh, my goodness.
He just kicked the car.
He's kicking the car. That's not good.
Again, LAPD, how long are you going to allow this to go on? I mean, you can't control all of the people that are coming out and getting involved in this. And look at, now these people trying to agitate the agitated suspect. It's just crazy. Throwing stuff again here.
Dear.
And
now he's hanging out the...
This is just like...
Oh, I thought he was hanging out the driver's side.
Yeah, I think it's just a reflection of the mirror there, might be seeing, but this looks a lot, this is really starting to look a lot like,
look at this,
look at all of these people out here. So many, I mean, talk about a spectacle, and a lot, very, very similar to that chase I was referencing earlier on Ventura Boulevard, that folks that watch these pursuits will definitely remember that one, where you have people coming and getting involved and doing that exact thing, coming up and kicking the vehicle. And, the suspect doesn't care. Just zoning out, just idling along with one bad tire, and LAPD just, it's crazy.
It is crazy. There's a motorcycle officer. I'm really surprised.
Okay.
They haven't shut this down. When I say shut it down, I mean, I know they closed off an intersection, but with all these people following, and they're not going to stop. Doesn't look like it. They're getting ahead of
I mean, they've basically come
to cars.
If we thought it was we thought it was a parade before, now it's really turning into a parade of it. I mean, I don't want to make light of it, but look at all of these people getting right up in this. And Pat, we just got some disturbing new info on this, and I'm not sure if this incident happened tonight, but apparently we're now learning that the suspect pointed a rifle and a handgun at someone inside a tent, and LAPD believes that the rifle is in the trunk, and it did happen tonight. That's what we're now being told. The rifle, they believe, is in the trunk, and they do believe that the handgun is in the waistband of that suspect. So the suspect was getting out and making all those violent motions, and LAPD believes that he actually had a gun on him at the time. So, really amazing restraint by LAPD in that situation, and you've got someone with possibly two weapons in the vehicle, and all of these people are just coming. If they're not aware of what's going on, obviously they haven't been watching our live stream. They've just been going on seeing the helicopter overhead and LAPD and whatever they may be shouting on the loudspeaker, but it's a very disturbing set of information that we're hearing from LAPD.
That is disturbing. Now, you said they pointed it at a tent, like a homeless person, someone in an encampment. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Is if maybe someone living, an unhoused person there, another object getting thrown at the suspect. Let's take this opportunity to peek inside and see what the driver's doing. Not really seeing any movements, but all of these people
look
just
at this.
Kicking it again. This is just... There's no way that these people know that he might have a handgun in his waistband right now, or they would not be doing this. I mean, and is it for social media? Is one of your friends filming this while you go up and kick the vehicle so that you can go get some likes on Twitter or on Instagram or on TikTok? You know, make a cute little video, haha, LOL. Is that what you're trying to do? It's just outrageous.
No, you don't know what people are. You know, they put everything on social media, Des, and you mentioned that, the likes, and, you know, I hate to say it, but some people live for that stuff. And look at this. I mean, this is real life drama on the streets of Los Angeles on almost Saturday morning here. You know what I'm really concerned about is, Des, what if, you know, who knows, this crowd could just rush this car. And then what? I'm surprised, actually, we're talking about his state of mind. I'm surprised that he actually turned around and went in the opposite direction, knowing that there were so many people out on the street. Wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Pat. I lost that last bit of your communication.
No, I said I was just surprised in a way that he turned around and went in the opposite direction, knowing that there were so many people out on the street.
Yeah, I think he's. I really think the suspect is just zoning out.
Yeah, that were approaching the car.
Yep, and I don't know if he's just ignoring people that are doing that. He hasn't had his windows down at all. Hasn't had the sunroof open at all. You can see just kind of going along and dragging this out as long as possible. And maybe just experiencing tunnel vision right now, or like I said, just probably zoned out. We have no idea if this person is under the influence of something as well. And stopping and going here on La Brea. We've been between Venice and Washington, and here we go again.
Officers out with their doors open. And it's, well, not interesting, but I guess for their own safety too. They're not really, they could be on the loudspeakers telling people to get back on the, you know, on the street or on the curb. But not getting out, and apparently, you know, how can you do that when this person could be armed and they could put themselves in, pardon me, in harm's way. But see, here we go. Now you're talking about more than one person.
Right up to it. Tapping the car, kicking the window. This is, you know, the third or fourth kick that this car has absorbed. And people just want to come out, just want to get on camera with this one, it seems, and the crowd continues to grow on this. We've got several dozen people out here as the suspect again, and kicking the car again as he. Yeah, that was the same guy who was involved earlier. And I mean, is there an LAPD officer, maybe that motor officer that you would think would come up and detain this person? All these people.
Now, what is he going to do?
What is going through their heads? I have no idea what anyone is thinking. I don't know what the suspect's thinking. They're tapping on the window. It looked like he was trying to open the door right there. Like, is some kind of vigilante justice, maybe? I don't know. It looked like they were trying to open the door, so
they were.
The suspect probably has the doors locked, but I'm starting to wonder if we're going to see some kind of violent confrontation at this point.
Someone may get an idea to break the window. You just don't know. Look, there's.
Yeah, I mean, they've already been throwing stuff at the windows, and I mean.
Well, I haven't seen anything like this.
The suspect just ignoring it all.
You're always saying we haven't seen anything like this, and then there's something else that comes along, and we say the same thing.
Yeah. I know. You really wonder how many times we can say that because we've covered so many pursuits, and we've seen the 6-hour pursuit. Never saw anything like that. We had the pursuit last night where someone was doing circles around the police and driving intentionally on the wrong way all over the place. You know, with no law enforcement trying to stop it. We've never seen that. Now we're seeing this as well with this suspect and folks coming up and getting way too involved.
What's up ahead, Desmond? Is he able to get through?
It looks like, it looks like a pretty wide open street right here for the suspect. There might be LAPD way up there, but we've got the same, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 vehicles, and there's, one LAPD officer, maybe 2 officers right there that are trying to do some crowd control, but it's not going to be enough. And where is the SWAT team? We heard that they were on the way, and don't see any signs of them arriving as this just continues to get crazier and crazier.
And interesting, he has not tried to speed up. He's got a straightaway there, or a long boulevard, but he's still driving at the same amount of speed, even slower, really to a crawl. I notice I don't see as many people. Yep. Well, there is one person. Well, a couple. When the light shines. Yeah, I see more people, in fact.
I have to wonder if LAPD is, threatening people with detention on this one, because it's, you're completely interfering with their operation, and it looks to the untrained eye like they're not doing anything, but our understanding is, they're waiting for SWAT to come in and get a handle on the situation, but the longer this continues, the more they've got to deal with crowd control, people coming and getting in harm's way, and it seems like no matter what happens, it's never an easy situation for LAPD.
Okay. Well, Desmond, I almost thought he was going to stop again.
Yeah, maybe not wanting to stop because doesn't want to get his windows broken by everyone that's been getting involved. Although now, as we pull out, it looks like that crowd has stopped, and maybe LAPD did get a little bit more involved with that one, and as we are back southbound on La Brea and getting back into this residential area, a suspect that's been going on is turning into one of those marathon pursuits, just kind of tootling along here southbound on La Brea, headed back down towards the 10 freeway, ever so slowly turning around.
Towards 10
only
freeway?
3 good tires. And
3 good tires. Chasing going on 60 out.
Extremely bizarre chase, one of the weirdest ones ever, and what a way to kick off the weekend here, northbound on La Brea.
2 hours and 85 minutes.
Widen out and show you how many people. Well, now the suspect coming back up into the crowd, and look at that, yanking on.
Oh my goodness.
Yanking on the handles again. You've got people looking like they're trying to get inside the car. Obviously, the suspect having their doors locked, as anyone driving in LA should. We've all seen the pursuits where people get carjacked because they have their, ooh, that was a pretty nasty hit right there. Not sure if that was a glass bottle or what, but it was full of something. But we've all seen those pursuits where people have gotten carjacked because they're driving around with their doors unlocked. So the suspect not letting that happen. Not sure if this is just vigilante justice or people just being really wild, people trying to take videos for their social media, or what all is going on this one. But incredibly weird. Just have to wonder, how many times can we say, I've never seen that before? How many, it just shows you how dynamic these situations are. And even after covering this for 5 years, we're still saying, actually 7 years, almost 7 years I've been doing this, we're still saying how many times can we say, I've never seen this before?
He's either they're throwing cans at him or he's throwing cans out. You notice that? Well, they're throwing cans at him. I thought he may have been throwing something out.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, Desmond, I've been here for almost 33 years and I haven't seen this. We've been covering, seriously. I keep thinking about the most strange pursuits. For me, it would be that tank that was in San Diego rolling down the street, and that ended very unfortunately with a person. I believe he was naked, and he didn't make it. But this is just, you know, and what's so frustrating about this is because we've seen nothing really they haven't been able to do anything. When I say they, talking about law enforcement, they're letting it ride. Oh, he's getting out again. I bet you're not going to get out that long.
No, just for a second.
Yeah.
That one became almost, that one had international notoriety, that tank one. I remember that as well. That was one of the first pursuits that I've ever seen. And these situations can go south real quick. And we are talking about someone that LAPD believes has a gun in their waistband right now, which is why we haven't seen any pit maneuvers, it's why we haven't seen officers come and rush up to the vehicle and swarm them and try to pull them out, because there are times when they will do that if they just think that someone is having a mental health crisis, or if they're disoriented or under the influence, they might do that. But everything changes as far as policy goes when they believe that there's a gun in the car, and we have no idea what this suspect is thinking. If they're going to surrender peacefully or not, it is definitely a concern, and especially a concern with all the people that have been coming out to get involved in this. Now we see LAPD with this intersection shut down. This is La Brea and Venice again, and everyone is looks like at least over on the sidewalk at this point, but.
Still a lot of people. That's a busy intersection. Even at this hour of the morning.
Brea and Venice. And it's Saturday morning, and there's a lot of folks out right now. There's still a lot of folks that are, frankly, just now getting the night started right now. I mean, it is only 12:45, so we are starting to get on the later side. But a lot of bars and restaurants are still going to be open for about another hour or so. So we might actually see the potential for more people to be coming out as they crowd out of businesses that are beginning to close. But now parked perpendicular and stopped. And this is the first that we've seen of this. And we'll see what the suspect is doing. Looks like he's kind of motioning through the windows, but whatever he's motioning, LAPD can't see because of the tints on the vehicle. Oh, you know what? I think this window's broken, Pat.
Which one?
It kind of, hold on. Let's wait and see it as I come around.
On the passenger side?
It looks like, it looks like it might be shattered.
I think I see what you're looking at.
Yeah, I think I see a hole in the window there, and if this happened from a bottle or someone coming up and punching, we saw, several, maybe 3 or 4 or more punches delivered to this vehicle, but it does look like glass is missing because look how well we can see it. So either the window's down or the window was broken, one of the two. But that is definitely exposed here on the front passenger side.
Yeah, you can see his arm on the wheel pretty good. At least I am. I'm right up against this huge monitor here. And he's just sitting there now, perpendicular. Yeah, definitely. That looks like a hole.
Broken. And it's possible that LAPD fired a beanbag or something in there as well, but I think that it probably happened from one of those people that was out there getting involved in this. We saw some.
They're taking a video on this.
Someone threw a haymaker at this car, and it might have broken the glass with their fist or with a very powerfully thrown bottle.
And he's not moving. Now, if he were to move forward, would he be going into a parking lot?
If he decided to step on the gas, it looks like he would be going into a gas station right here where there are quite a few other people as well. Let's just hope that this is the end of the suspect moving and this is going to turn into a standoff situation. And if the suspect's just had enough, if they're tired, if they're just kind of thinking about everything that's led up to these events. Is the car out of gas? Is that tire finally done? It's still unclear. We have seen the suspect stop for stretches at a time, but definitely not giving up.
Nope, and not getting out. We've talked about that. We have not seen.
And earlier when he was.
Yes, he is not getting out of that car.
Earlier when it was, seemed almost giddy to get out of the vehicle and make these crazy motions at LAPD. We haven't seen really any of that in the last half hour.
No, and considering what he's been met with, I'm sure he would think twice about doing something like that, because while police officers were a little cautious in approaching this suspect, Daz, I have a feeling if he were to get out of that car and stand out there and motion like he's been doing, the people that are on the street there would not be as cautious. We've already seen them. Look at they've damaged this vehicle. I imagine they would try to rush him.
Possibly. I mean, we've seen some very crazy activity. I think what would happen is if they open the door, LAPD is going to give him the opportunity to peacefully surrender, and if he starts motioning like that, then they may, go for the less than lethal again. And, we don't even want to think about if he starts waving the gun around, because this is going to go south really, really quickly. And we have to remember that is what LAPD believes, is that there's two weapons in this vehicle, a rifle in the trunk and a handgun in the suspect's waistband.
And just knowing that information and watching this guy get out and make the motions that he was making earlier in this pursuit, I was a bit concerned, Des, because we've seen things happen, and you don't get out and make motions at officers like you're shooting a gun at them. And it could have been anything. If he would have gotten out with a cell phone in his hand, anything, a shiny object, could have been some keys, then this could have played out much differently, that's for sure. And we don't have any information that he actually shot someone, but that he brandished a weapon. Is that correct?
That's correct. It was apparently pointed a rifle at, I think it was the rifle and the handgun at someone that was in a tent. So probably a homeless person somewhere in an encampment. We're talking about a tent. There's no campgrounds nearby in this area, but and it happened in the Wilshire area. So that's almost certainly the circumstance that this happened. And now these people are face to face with this suspect, and this person here in the white shirt, I think that's the one. Look at this guy's waving a stick around, and so they're obviously taunting this guy, and they're taunting someone who pointed a gun at someone else earlier, taunting someone that may have a gun in their waistband. It's just crazy all the way around.
It is, and you wonder if they know that information or not. I mean, this guy is really agitated, the guy in the white shirt, and he has approached this vehicle before, and so did the guy next to him, I believe, with who has an object in his hand. And again, it just takes this guy to get out the car, and I don't know. LAPD may not have to rush him. Or even shoot another beanbag.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
let's talk about what we do know. Supposedly he was hit by a beanbag, correct? He was struck.
That is, yes, we believe that was hit by a beanbag. And LAPD, has been out here with less than lethal on the front line every time that the suspect has gotten out. And while the suspect is in the vehicle, we'll just zoom in on officers and see. And you can see, well, they have lethal as well. You see the one here, less than lethal on the end, with the green strap, the green gun. So that's going to be either a beanbag or some type of foam pellet. And then, but everyone else has got, they've got their revolver out, or their handgun anyway, and drawn in just in case the suspect gets out. So LAPD is prepared for anything, but it is worth noting that we still have not seen the SWAT department or the SWAT team arrive. And now that this is pretty stationary, we haven't seen the suspect move in quite a long time. I'm wondering they maybe formula. Okay. One of the SWAT leaders on team, our awesome assignment desk guy Mike, who is doing a great job getting information for us tonight, is on the scene. One of the commanders, and at least one of the Bearcats, they're probably going to bring 2. They typically bring 2. What they like to do is come and kind of sandwich the vehicle between the 2 Bearcats. So they'll come in up to both sides of the front and rear bumper and just kind of sandwich them in so that they cannot move. If they want to try to get out of it, they won't be able to do that. And so that is probably what we're going to see if and when they arrive, which we're told should hopefully be soon.
Well, can you imagine them pulling in with this crowd? They certainly have to get the crowds back, but, you know, you don't see a Bearcat show up in the neighborhood every day, right, Desmond? So that's something to see in itself, and actually to see them execute is also, that's not something that you see in real life all the time. I mean, this is LA, and we do movies, and we see it all the time in movies, but to actually see it all the time in movies, something like that on the street is, you know, that's, I don't know if I want to call it a spectacle, but it is really, it's very serious and very, very engaging, I would say, and very dramatic. SWAT itself is dramatic.
It is. It is, but it typically plays out over a very long time scale. You know, in the movies, we see crazy stuff where they're driving, you know, maybe Bearcats around. We've all seen Fast and Furious where they're flying around at 100 miles an hour around downtown Los Angeles or something, or they're executing maneuvers very quickly, and it's definitely not like that in real life, because even what will happen after SWAT gets here, if they even do decide to come in and sandwich the vehicle in, which it may even be some time between when they arrive and when they decide to do that, and then even after they do that, they, as we saw a couple of weeks ago with that pursuit that ended on the railroad tracks, they give every opportunity for the suspect to surrender, and only after a very long period of time will they break the back window with what they call the bank pole, and they will basically inject some irritant gas in there to force the suspect out. But that can take 2 or 3 hours.
Well, we certainly don't want it to take that long, Desmond, because we don't want to be here for 2 or 3 more hours. And I think I can say that in all sincerity, and I think you're with me on that. So we're hoping. You know, I'm chuckling again. That's only nervous laughter, and the fact that thankfully no one has been injured. Certainly that we know of. We don't. I think we would have known by now if he actually shot someone. We do have information that this guy has pulled a rifle on someone in a tent, and we're assuming that's a homeless person or unhoused person, possibly in an encampment, possibly just on the street. But he also supposedly has a handgun in his waistband, which gives
the whole thing?
officers much pause, which is another reason why we haven't
open the
seen
door.
more movements on the part of LAPD to bring this to an end. But certainly this guy has sat in this position for, what, at least 10 minutes now, Desmond? That's the longest that we've seen him stationary.
That's the longest he's been sitting there, at least
throughout this whole ordeal, which is 2 hours now.
10 minutes now. At least 10 minutes.
Yeah, so let's hope that this is not just a momentary break from the suspect, and that this is at least going to be the end of the driving around and gathering a large crowd around. Now, I did just show you the Bearcat as well. One of them that has arrived at the scene there, kind of behind the lines there with LAPD. We saw those big red and flashing lights. So they are here on the scene, but they will probably be waiting for one more of those big armored vehicles to come in before they make any of the sudden moves on this. And you know, Pat, we were talking about this going on for 2 or 3 more hours. As much fuel as our amazing new helicopter is able to carry, and we are the only helicopter that is currently over this, because we've been able to outlast everyone with our larger fuel capacity. Even we are going to be bumping up against needing to get some Jet A fuel at some point. So let's just hope that this is resolved shortly.
Yeah, we do. We certainly do hope that. Even for those of us, because we have to get on the road tonight too, or in the morning, I should say. You know, I thought that's what you were trying to show us with the lights blinking. That was one of the Bearcats, but I didn't say it at the time because it was so dark, and I really couldn't make it out. But I'm glad that you did say that. And as you mentioned, it could be there, and they could take time as well before they actually make a move.
So I'm back now. Welcome back.
I wonder if this driver
Been a
knows
couple of
that
hours, a couple of minutes.
And, you know, that would certainly give me pause.
So, yeah.
I think the way that it looked like they came down westbound on Venice Boulevard and kind of around the corner.
So they came down on
the suspect doesn't really seem to be very concerned with his surroundings right now. I mean, he's kind of face to face with all of these people. I just wonder what all these people are thinking too. I mean, here's this guy out here with a stick in his hand and making threatening gestures.
It
hasn't done anything to the suspect. So I mean, what are you really accomplishing by doing this? It looks like you might have a couple of stringers out here trying to get some footage, but
get some footage.
Other than that, I mean, it's just such a bizarre situation.
It really is, and you wonder if there's a stare down going on. Is this guy looking at the other guys lined up on the other side of the street, ready to just do damage on him if he gets out that car? You have to wonder what he's thinking, but then again, that's hard to discern, considering how he's been behaving during these last couple of hours in the first place. But again, this is the longest that we have seen him stationary, not moving. I guess he's parked, Des. Guess he's got the parking brake on.
Yeah, it seems like it. I think I might even see a dent along the front fender flare here, maybe where someone came in and kicked that vehicle.
They certainly where someone
saw this
came
vehicle
in,
taking some
vehicle,
abuse from
and they
people that wanted to come in and get involved in this. And
50 times.
One of the windows shattered there, and I'm just wondering how that happened. If that was from someone's fist, or if that was from this guy who has the big stick out here, or if that was from one of the bottles that was thrown. But it's just crazy how, okay, well, now, this is an insane detail. Apparently, someone found a chunk of concrete and tossed that at the...
So as it was tossed out of the window, it's hard to tell. This is, seriously, before we are going to wrap this up. So anyway, let's continue watching it.
Window. So that's what we believe broke the suspect's front passenger window, is some kind of chunk of concrete that was just laying around out there. Maybe a piece of a deteriorated sidewalk or something. But boy, you just never know what's going to happen in LA with these pursuits.
And we certainly didn't expect this to happen when we were over this a couple of hours ago. Desmond, we took our time to talk about what happened last night when we were on the air together with the driver making all the donuts and finally pulling over in front of his home. We assumed that was his home because he was on the phone with his family, from what we understand, asking him to pull over, and he gave us the information that this person was having some sort of mental health crisis. We haven't had that kind of communication with this person, at least, not that we know about, Desmond, in terms of police contacting family member or family member contacting the police to get through to this individual. We don't know that, but we have been able to ascertain, I guess, that this is not a stolen vehicle, and we're assuming that this is the person that the car is registered to. Of course, it doesn't have to be, but that's I guess that's the thought, or it has been, and that this person, though, pulled a weapon on someone, and that's why this pursuit happened in the first place. But the driver has been driving very, very slowly from the very beginning, stopping, taunting police, getting out the car for minutes at a time, certainly long enough for the officers to use beanbags or less lethal weapons, which we understand that this driver was hit, or we believe he was hit by one of those. Did you say a foam ball or something like that, Desmond? Less than lethal.
Foam ball, less than lethal.
Yeah, there's different types of the less than lethal, and we had heard beanbag, but then we'd also heard that it was like a foam bullet. So just think of something that's maybe like 10 times more sturdy than those Nerf guns that we used to play with as kids. I mean, it's definitely more painful than it sounds.
Kids,
and the idea is to, inflict pain and try to stop the suspect from wanting to, trying to deter them, searching for words now at this point, try to deter the suspect, but not seriously injure them, kind of in-between space. You want to do enough kind of physical harm to deter them, but not so much that they're going to have to be hospitalized. That's the point
that's crazy,
of the less than lethal. We did just hear that SWAT is indeed waiting for other units to respond, and so we have one of the SWAT vehicles out. No, that's not it. It was back in this area. They may have moved out of the way, but we're waiting for other SWAT to arrive that's coming from downtown LA. They were coming from the 10 and 110, so right by downtown. So we'll see how long it takes them to get here. Hopefully they're not going to drive here as slow as this suspect was going throughout the duration of the pursuit, but if they even just drive at speed limit, they should be here within the next 10 or 15 minutes. And we can confirm that they are shouting out commands. They are trying to coax the suspect out of the vehicle, but the suspect just kind of content to zone out, maybe stare at the guy that has the board in his hand,
and 1 point just before the newscast
whatever else is going through the suspect's head.
Continues. Many people recording it with their cell phones. They'll come here in about 20, 30 minutes.
To watch,
yeah, and it's going to be really difficult for LAPD for them to push everybody back.
That too, Desmond.
They will come. They'll be here in the next 5 or 10 minutes.
Desmond, can you tell us why it takes
They'll be here in the next 15, 20 minutes, 5 or 15 minutes, 5 or 20 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes.
They're probably going to want to do this maneuver that we see, where they're going to bring both Bearcats in
and they're going to sandwich that car in.
Yeah,
and
they're going to come in opposite sides, the front and rear bumper, and basically align their bumpers and kind of sandwich the suspect in, just kind of barely make contact with the vehicle to make sure that the suspect doesn't try to take out, so that they can guarantee that this is just a standoff and that there's no chance that it could turn back in. And here we go. Now, here come. Well, these are not no, these aren't Bearcats, though, are they?
These are
They look like
Bearcats.
maybe armored SUVs. Maybe they still have some bulletproof armored excursions. They're not the Bearcats that we're used to seeing. So not sure if the Bearcats are tied up in some other incident in Los Angeles. I mean, it is a big city, 437 square miles. It could be something else that they're tied up on, but we've got these armored excursions. So this is actually the first time.
So that's a Bearcat.
First time that I've seen these deployed. And okay, now we're learning the Bearcats are coming to the scene as well. So they're definitely, this is what the agencies do.
Now it's been about 10 minutes.
They use overwhelming force in these situations, and maybe the hope is that the suspect just sees what they're up against with all of these resources coming here to the scene. And look at this one now, racing up. Let's see what they do here.
There they go.
Yep, and boom, just like I thought. And look, you've even got one who's like decked out in military gear here. So even though these aren't Bearcats, they are doing exactly what I said, although they're not aligning the rear bumper. But yeah, they are sandwiching them in, and you can see, I mean, how intimidating this must be. You have someone here, through the roof of the vehicle with an automatic weapon. How do you not surrender at this point? Because now it's either you're going to surrender and you're going to be in handcuffs, or you can drag this out a few more hours and you're going to be in handcuffs and your eyes are going to be watering and you're going to be coughing because they're going to inject an irritant gas and it's going to be so painful, and you're still going to be in handcuffs. So how much longer is this going to go on?
In handcuffs.
That's a good point, Desmond. And he's just sitting there.
And that's a good point.
I can see his hands on the wheel.
We can see that hands are, something is almost like.
Now he's throwing his hands up.
Yeah, we'll just kind of
throwing his hands up.
To move around.
He's gesturing.
Yeah,
he is gesturing.
Yeah, he's making those same motions. It looks like that he's making those same motions he was making earlier, Pat.
Yeah, he's doing that machine gun motion. But I don't know. At what point?
I just wonder how. I just wonder how much patience do we really need to drag this out for 2 or 3
We
more
need to
hours
drag
with you
this out
continuing
for
to
more,
call out on the
for 2 or 3
loudspeaker?
more hours.
I feel like you've
They're
already given
continuing
so
to call out
much deference to this suspect, so much leeway
call out,
for them
call.
to come out,
They're
and
continuing. They're
now
gonna
you've
call,
come in, you've pinned them in, you've been
call
calling out on the loudspeaker.
The loudspeaker.
There's no way the
calling out
suspect cannot hear
loudspeaker for
now
hours.
You're even within earshot here with all of these officers.
Earshot.
And
So
you just look
they're
at
telling
all
him,
of the
driver,
resources that
get out
are
of your
going
vehicle.
into
Put your hands
this
up.
incident to try to
And we
bring
can see them.
one person into custody because of whatever is going on in their brain
That's right.
now. And,
The window, the passenger window is broken.
Look, the SWAT officers.
They're out.
SWAT officers are coming in to surrender this vehicle.
And here's the Bearcat. So now we've got three of the vehicles. There's the classic right here. The Bearcat, the huge armored, basically a military vehicle coming in to this side as well. So surrounding on 3 sides. And
a military
again,
vehicle.
you just wonder what could
A
possibly
military
be going on.
vehicle. Like, this is a big
maybe. Well, if there's any good thing here, they don't need to even worry about breaking any windows because one of the windows has been broken anyway. So
one of the windows
why not just throw some pepper balls in there, throw some irritant gas in there, and
so they're gonna throw some irritant gas here. So let's just get on with this.
And look at this. Guy, driver, you have the
guy,
get out,
driver. You could get out of the vehicle, or
I mean, you're going to run into
if you try to run away,
that are pretty
you're going
upset
to
with
run
you
into
too. All right, and our law enforcement.
They're gonna be
you know what I'm trying
pretty
to say
upset when they're gonna be pretty upset when those things.
Right?
When you think
I mean,
that's nothing funny.
Another direction.
Shocking. You see, it's graphic.
Any way you look at it. Well, they're trying to move people out of the way.
It's graphic. It's not graphic,
it
so
looks like LAPD is
we're going to show it to the audience.
Handle on this now that they have the suspect surrounded on 3 sides with armored
you ready,
vehicles.
audience?
And
so
now
audience,
they're really making a
pay
concerted
attention,
effort
pay
to
close
shoot
attention,
people out of here,
and
tell
you can
people
see
to go
you're going to
home.
watch it very carefully.
And just put this on KCAL 9 if you want to see how this is going to play out the next 10 or so minutes instead of being potentially in harm's way. But he's still sitting
10 or so
in the driver's seat, and he's making these motions. I can see it even from here through the window.
So we
can see through the tint. We can see through the tint pretty well now that they have that spotlight on. And you see the arms kind of going back and forth, and it looks like he's making that machine gun motion again.
In about 15 minutes or so, maybe 10 or 15
they don't
minutes.
have to put up with this.
So they'll be
sitting
there, and they'll try to get that suspect out. So
knock that window out.
And he was sitting there the entire time for the past 10 or 20 minutes
which is
or so. I think 10 or probably 15 minutes now.
It certainly seems
then
that they could. I don't know what waiting any longer is going to accomplish now
when they're going to accomplish here. So 3 SWAT vehicles are in. So yeah. So anyway, when you have 3 vehicles, it will be 3 hours. 3 hour 3 hour video. It was supposed to be 2 hour video. So anyway, before we wrap this up, audience, you're doing a great job paying attention. Keep it up.
The suspect's surrounded, and you've already been shouting out commands for more than a half hour, and during
more than
the pursuit,
a half hour finished business, unfinished business, or finished business.
They've got this long
earlier,
pole,
I should
and I know it sounds funny,
tonight,
but it's called
midnight.
That is what the SWAT department actually calls it.
What the SWAT department
it's a pole that is capable of breaking a window.
Capable of breaking a window,
and they can basically hold
little
a
claw
gas
on the end, gas canister.
Either throw a flashbang in there, or some kind of irritant gas, or whatever they want to attach to that claw. Kind of think almost like one of those skill cranes that you would play in an arcade, but in reverse, they can go and drop that into the
irritant
car.
Gas. Drop that into the car.
They've definitely got that inside.
They've definitely got that inside the vehicle. That was probably, we're sure,
so long to get here, making sure that they had all
so long to get here, about an hour, 35 to 40
whenever
minutes.
they want to deploy this,
now,
they should be able to bring this to an end pretty quickly.
They should be able to bring this to an end.
And that's why they were called here
They should be able to bring this to an end
LAPD
quickly.
didn't want to do this on their own.
They didn't want to do this on their own.
They showed great patience and
they showed great patients following this driver when he stopped, got out of the car, taunted them, got back in the car. They've shown their patience.
Let's just say it. They
And
don't have
SWAT
to.
doesn't really have. Let's just say it.
No, they don't. I mean, you saw how quickly they came as soon as they came off the freeway and just rushed right up here and came in and cornered the vehicle. And I mean, 3 armored vehicles. I can't remember the last. I'm not sure I've ever seen 3 armored SUVs or 2 armored SUVs and this little mini tank come up and to come in and corner one suspect. But once again, first time for everything.
Yeah, and to have them surrounded like this. I mean, we've seen SWAT deployed, especially. Oh my goodness, Desmond. I think about the Christopher Dorner situation in San Bernardino when you had these,
doors open.
Okay.
Doors open.
There it is.
Oh,
okay.
Are we coming?
Doors.
Okay, we gotta be careful because they thought that this person had.
We gotta be careful. That's true. The person had a hole in their waistband.
Is this really the end of this right now?
In their waist.
We'll try to see if we can zoom in a little bit more on this
try
one.
to see if we can zoom a little bit more on this one because he could jump back in the car. He could jump back in the car.
I'm gonna go just a little bit wide.
A little bit wide.
Not only potentially armed, but agitated.
Just a little bit
the entire time, this guy has been really agitated.
The entire time, about 50 minutes, the guy had been
hands are up now.
Agitated as well.
Kind of up and down, but moving around. I don't want to see him doing this.
Kind of.
Oh no, back in the car. Back in the car.
Up and down. Up and down. When
again, the guy does not want to comply.
Like 2 hours or 3 hours.
How long
pursuit.
are you
Standoff.
willing
LAPD
to let this
standoff
go
in
on
Mid-City
right now?
Division.
Had an opportunity there to bring this to an end. I understand they didn't want to rush the guy, but this is just going to go on. It's just this could go on all night if this person wants it to.
Go on all night.
I don't want to play SWAT officer, but it does make you wonder why they have him surrounded on all sides. Why?
Gonna do it.
Now he's out again.
Now he's out again. That's 10 times. 10 or 15 times. 20 times.
Just pretending.
Okay.
Never mind.
shooting him.
Never mind. I'm just gonna leave. Okay.
No, they got
him. Oh no.
Oh my God! They're getting him! They're getting him! They're getting him!
But
Desmond, it looked like he reached
goes
for his
underneath
waist.
the awning.
Is that him?
Wow. Okay.
Wow, they got him.
Wow, there's so many officers.
Just for the second.
Maybe he didn't have the gun in his waistband, or maybe he was not willing to risk a suicide by cop or something like that. But the marathon has ended, and he was running towards that crowd. And you saw just how dangerous. Look at all these people, and he was kind of running right at them.
Those people think it's okay to be funny. Not upset. They think it's so funny. Not funny.
No, listen, and
that's
that wasn't
shocking.
a good idea either.
What a good idea either. That came to an end.
Stop him, don't you think? Of course.
They were going to stop him. Don't you think?
There was at least one person we believe in that crowd who was, wanting to use that thick, not quite a 2x4, but maybe half that. It was making those threatening gestures and
2x4.
But LAPD took him down.
They took him down.
Incredible patience by LAPD. Just very happy that this coincided with us running low on fuel. We were able to bring you the conclusion of this marathon. It just would have been so painful to have gone through all of this to bring all of this to you.
They were bringing any conclusion of marathon of police mini pursuit parade
by 6 or 7 officers there. And just
by 6 or 7
fortunate that this
officers.
did not end in a tragedy, considering what this person was wanted for, and the fact that LAPD believed that this person had a gun in their waistband.
Had a gun.
Well, and you know what? I wish we could say that this ended with no one harmed, no one hurt. Whether he pulled a weapon on a homeless person, we don't believe that he fired it, but still.
Many of them videotaping, they videotape.
And lucky
already.
for him, they didn't, because
15
as you know,
to 20
Desmond,
times.
we've watched that guy
About 15
waving
to
his
20
hands
minutes
around him
later,
and pointing them at officers.
The suspect was taken down on the ground and hit the suspect with a beanbag weapon. So,
but here he is in handcuffs, and really he should be lucky
in handcuffs.
that he's in handcuffs. We don't know his mental state. if this is
We
something
don't know his
that
mental
you know,
state.
he
It's
seemed
just
like he was
something-
having some kind of
He was having some
psychotic break or something, and we don't know if that
like
has been momentarily
psychotic,
or if this
like
is
some psychotic
ongoing or
break,
not. But
psychotic episode. Or
we've got a code
What is
4,
it
and the
called?
suspect is in handcuffs,
suspect is in
and this
handcuffs.
slow
They got
speed pursuit
code 4.
is
This
over.
slow speed pursuit. So they're gonna close the street, and you can go to the street.
And we can
they
finally begin
close
our weekend,
to the back
Pat.
up,
Well, Desmond,
close that
how
street
about
down,
that? I
get
mean,
those
we've got to
people
drive
back
to
up,
where we have to
back
go,
up. We
but
have a situation. Get it under control.
it's always a pleasure
always
working
a-
with
just
you.
a-
It's always a pleasure.
It's just unfortunate In and Out's closed at this point, Pat.
Yeah, that's true.
just
So, look,
unfortunate.
Desmond, I'm going to
In and
wish
Out.
you, look, I'm
Closed.
going to wish you a
Point,
good
not
weekend.
closed,
We
point.
still have to get that
Open.
dinner in, don't we?
Absolutely, anytime. And let's make a date.
All right, you got it. All right, Desmond, I'm going to wish you, and is that Chris up there with you?
My excellent pilot, Chris, who has done a fantastic job on this, and we got
The pilot and
Mike
the
at the
news-
desk who stayed on this, and everyone in the communications
Chopper
center.
helicopter
I'm sorry, I think
reporter.
we're losing it here. We got to.
Done a
Even the
great job.
camera's getting tired here, Pat. The camera is ready to start the weekend here
You got it.
of La Brea and Venice. But yeah, a code 4 here. A
Code 4, they're gonna shut that
thanks
road
to everybody
down.
who stayed late
So the In
to
and Out
help us get this conclusion.
All
So
right,
the
well,
In and Out
Desmond, then
is
I will talk
open
to
at
you
this
on
point.
Monday.
It's in
Have a
Woodland.
good
So
weekend.
as well. So have
Yeah.
a great
Thank
weekend.
you
Have a
to
great
everyone for watching on KCAL 9.
day.
We're
Have
gonna
a
turn you
great
back
rest of
to
your afternoon. I will see you in the
regular
next video later on this afternoon and this evening at about 4:30, 5 o'clock. And I'll see you in the next video later on tonight and midnight later on. So thanks for watching. Check out this video. Pops up here. See you guys in the next video later. Bye guys. Bye guys.